funny that the last time we did the podcast, obviously we've been hanging out and having a lot of great times since then, but I was getting ready to start this build I'm wrapping up, and now we're kind of at the wrap up of that. Yeah, exactly. And then, but
at the same time, I was like just entering my build, and now that's done. And I guess some...
Sounds like you're bragging.
What, that I beat you?
Yeah.
I had to build a frame and everything.
Oh, yeah. Fuck, that sucks, man. Well, you only had, what, 6 wires on your bike?
Pretty much.
I've pretty much been wiring for like 3 weeks straight.
I literally cut every single thing I could off of that thing. It's headlight, tail light, no starter, definitely no turn signals.
When you think about, like, I have like 80 hours in wiring, but I can bill like 12 of them maybe tops on a good day. Yeah. That was a learning experience. I think after this part now, I'm a fucking wiring master, dude. Like, I understand it so well. It kind of gets me horny a little bit, like just thinking about how to lay it out and like put it all together and route it and bring wires together and step up the gauge into to the negatives. Like, the shit is actually kind of fun,
Do you remember James Davis? He lives like across the street from the Bearded Lady in Fort Worth.
Yeah, we went to his
garage.
Yeah.
Well, I popped in there to drop off some RMFG parts to him, and he's doing his wiring on his FXR. Yeah. And he actually laid it all out on like a piece of plywood, like it's a wiring schematic in a factory or something. Yeah, you can definitely nerd out on that stuff. And
that's what I have on the table right now. I have the original wiring harness on one side of the table, and then the new wiring harness on this side. And it's just it's really not complicated. And being able to wire in like the speedometer and stuff and all this stuff, and it's really illuminated like how to do those things. So now, like, I'm looking at my bikes that I don't have speedometers on. I'm like, well, shit, I could technically put one on here now. I know how to do it. So I don't want to do it, but
it's one of those things. Once you get it, you get it.
Yeah.
And if you don't use it, you kind of lose it, and then it becomes scary when you come back to do it after a year or something like that.
Welding and building exhaust systems, for me, that's what it's like. By the time I get done with an exhaust, it feels like it's all flowing really well. Yeah. And I should probably start over and do a good one at that point. Yeah. But then I get done, put it on the bike, and then I ride it for 6 months, and then a new exhaust comes along, and it's another learning curve.
But at least with I guess I hear what you're saying, but I feel like with the exhaust, it's pretty straightforward. But with wiring, you add in a new component, and it wants to do things differently. Yeah. I'm not an EE or something like that, so I don't really know. But we had the little misadventure with the M unit from Moto Gadget, and like they want things done a very specific way, and to like illuminate a turn signal, it goes to ground and all that other stuff. So you add something in there that's contrary or different than what you're used to working with, and it definitely throws a wrench in your brain.
Talking about the M unit, I just felt like that is like the way that you wire one of those is kind of backwards as to the way you would normally wire, grounds, all that stuff. It does simplify it. But I mean, the thing is, like, in my opinion, when you're making something custom, you shouldn't have to run things like a horn, which is one of the first things that most custom motorcycles remove in order to be able to access the reset mechanism or whatever the, troubleshooting things on it.
That's right. We're getting deep into the manual now because we had to try and hard reset it. And it was like, activate the horn. We're like,
we didn't make a horn. But you know what? The other thing that I learned out of that is when you were here helping with that, the way you were using AI to help troubleshoot it, bro, I fucking copied that. And that's how I figured out what gauge to get, what speedo, like, I have a different relationship with AI now. I still don't fuck with AI flyers, but the way that you were using it to troubleshoot the problems that we were having illuminated a completely different, like,
we've gone back and forth on AI and its virtues or lack thereof, and I've clearly been on one side, and I don't want to. I sympathize with the people and all of their reasons to be against it. And believe it or not, I have some too. But as a tool, and in this case, there's a manual, right? And it's pages and pages long. And it's hard to read and keep track of every single thing you're learning to trace down one thing. right? When you know how to do, and you just need to trace down one thing. So in the case of AI, plug it into chat, Claude, whatever.
Yeah.
Just upload the digital manual and ask it the question that you're asking yourself, and boom, it's there.
Bam. And that's pretty much what I ended up doing. I said, hey, I'm looking to do this. This is my situation. Like basically also like listening to you prompt it, I learned kind of how I need to tell the fucking app that this is what I'm working with.
You can literally just start by asking it like it's a person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You can just ask
I'm not
it.
comfortable with that yet.
I know. It's kind of weird. So I've switched from, because I have like so much stuff in my AI. It's kind of like my personal assistant. I put data and information into it to recall later, to build a project, an idea. I'm using it at work. These are all separate projects. So like each project has its own set of data, its own memory. There's a beginning prompt in each project. So like RMFG customer service. You are a customer service agent, blah, 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 blah. You tell it who it is, what it's doing, how it's acting.
Yeah.
And then it builds on all of that data. So those are all separate projects. And I started when chat came out, and it was all just like one big bucket. And about a month ago, I switched over to Claude, exported all of my data, started a bunch of projects, and kept everything separated. And now I talk to Claude more than anybody to call it a body.
It's not sexual yet, right?
No, but where I was going with this is not even a good joke, but my wife calls it Claudia.
Claudia?
My ex-girlfriend.
Yeah. Well, that's been one of the things that, I've heard stories about how people have, like, relationships have kind of failed because people would communicate with that more than their own partner and stuff like that. But
yeah.
But again, like you said, if you use it as a tool, it makes sense. I'm against the whole flyer for an event thing because of, first off, like it's like saying fuck you to all the people that learn how to use Photoshop and acting like you don't need to. I get it. Maybe, it's the new calculator, right? Why learn how to do, add, subtract, division and stuff. But at the same time.
But to that point, you still have to know how to math.
Yeah.
The calculator doesn't know how to math. It just computes.
Yes.
And that's really all it is. I don't know if I want to spend the whole night talking about AI. I actually, in my spare fun time, I listen to all of the doom and gloom AI podcasts. I don't know why. I guess I'm just trying to like play devil's advocate against myself, but I think it is all it's cracked up to be. I think it can do a lot. It already is doing a lot. Is it going to destroy the world? Maybe, but I think it's just going to fold in there, just like email, the fax machine, the horseless carriage, and it's going to become a part of life.
Well, like I said, the way that it's been unveiled to me now is like it's literally just a very, very efficient search engine. So instead of going to Google and typing something in and you get 400 things that, like whoever did their SEO,
100%.
Now you're actually getting what you asked for. So it's almost like going back to the original way that a search engine was supposed to be before it got kind of hoaxed into like being a sales agent for whatever.
Totally. And the moment AI goes like advertising model,
we're
gone.
Fucked. Yeah.
Gone. Well, so I think something else will take its place. Anyway, let's not talk about fucking AI. Let's talk about motorcycles.
Well, so we did that last podcast and we've been hanging out for a year. Now now we're past a year now, so our relationship is very we're past our first anniversary. Yeah. But anyway, I mean, like, dude, when you started building that bike, and I feel like the bike build and the efforts that you put into like social media and making the YouTube channel all kind of converged at the same time.
There was definitely some sort of catalyzing thing that happened. And I intentionally put in the effort to kind of do it that way. And then it just kind of worked. And I was like, and I don't want to cut you off because I kind of know what you're going to say. But people are asking a lot of questions about it. And even suggesting like, oh, you're like a social media maven now. And I just want to put it out there. I don't really think I am. Mm-hmm. I think it was half accident and half just fucking around, and then you kind of find something out.
me and Dustin were actually talking about, because Dustin called me today from LFG, and we were like, he said, "Hey man, how was that podcast with Chris?" I was like, "Well, we haven't done it. He's going to come tonight." He goes, "Dude,
he messaged me this morning.
Instagram blew up," and I'm like, I can't remember what it was whenever we first met, but I know today it's kind of difficult to grow organically like the way mine grew. You know what I mean? Like, and I would say probably the way David probably grew, you know, Cafe Racers of Instagram back in the day, right? And now I guess with the new algorithm shit, they don't really want to, like a David. I mean, David makes his own content now for the most part in a lot of regards. But the way that page was started was like, you're building a Cafe Racer, I'm the place to post it. You know, I'm the magazine, I'm the catch-all be-all for it. So
so for anybody listening, David, good friend of mine, friend of ours, he, for like the first couple years of Instagram, he had the largest motorcycle-based Instagram period. And it was really just a reaggregator of like, you know, he modeled it off of Cats of Instagram, which is just a bunch of fucking cats. And he did Cafe Racers because that's what he was into at the time, and it was a thing going on. And has 1 million followers. It's had 1 million followers for
quite a while,
years, right? And they're kind of all dinosaurs. And no shade to you, David. But like the engagement is low on that stuff, and the algorithm really focuses on, and somehow it knows this stuff because it's probably AI based, but it knows when you're putting in something that is going to carry, and it kind of searches for that by placing it in front of people and seeing how much they watch and also how much they engage. So I'll spell out the whole recipe right now.
Okay.
There's no gatekeeping here. They want engagement. They want to keep you on the app, right? And they want to keep you on the app. So the amount of time that you watch, the amount of people that send it as a message, now there's the repost feature, that repost it, that comment, that like. And in the first 10 minutes, first hour, first day, if that climbs up a lot at the beginning, it's going to go to the moon. If it doesn't, it's going to stay on the ground.
Yeah.
And so I had been seeing this. I started when I was on Instagram, and you see some of these posts, whether it's motorcycle or car or otherwise, and you see it has, 1 million likes, not just, because usually likes are a percentage of views, right? Or your followers or whatever. I'm like, how did they do that? So reverse engineered it. Visual hook, sonic hook. If you can win a second, because everybody does it, you see something, not interested. Your brain already decides.
Yeah.
And your thumb is already in action, right? It's like driving when something pulls out in front of you. You've already begun to turn, right?
It's subconscious, right?
And so if you can win a second, you can win 2 more seconds. If you can win 2 more seconds, you'll win 5 more seconds. And you can literally see this in the data on the back end when you see view insights or whatever. And there's a curve, like how many people drop off. You're not going to keep everybody forever. But if you win that first second, so how do you do that? There has to be something kind of engaging to your eye in the most simple terms, right? You're like, whoa, what's that? I'm going to watch another second, see what happens.
It's like a nip slip or...
So that's the funny thing. All right, a little side quest here. Since this algorithm has been working this way, I think we've all seen the rise in sexy girls doing whatever they can to win that first second. Yeah. And then you win a little bit more and all this other stuff. And the guys are fucked. Like you're absolutely done.
My brain's already trained like, okay, this girl clearly doesn't have a shirt on. She's saying some nonsense, but maybe there's going to be
I'm not
something.
Listening.
Yeah, maybe if I stay around for 5 more seconds, she'll do the whole like, well, and then it like shows the mirror and straight, whatever. It's
we've all seen it. It is disgusting. I'm kind of disgusted with myself, but it's still.
We all fall for it though. We all fall for it every time.
Like I said, the guys are fucked. It's built into our DNA and they've hacked it.
Yeah.
But back to the hacking. So win the first second. A visual hook. That's something that hooks you. There's a few other things you can do, like a sonic hook. That's some sort of sound element, right? Like we've all seen and people are using these sounds a lot. Fa, fa, fa.
Yeah.
Right? Or as an example, that's the thing you can do. I'll just cut straight to what I do. I do that, and then I keep it 1 second clips. Try and keep it linear so people can follow a progression. Like there's this guy, Dusty Lumberco, I think. He's a Canadian woodworker, blah, blah, blah. He's got all the sponsors, got tons of views, blah, blah, blah. And he basically builds something out of wood like every day. And he just puts it at like 2 or 3x speed. And that 2 or 3x speed and the cuts that he's doing puts you on the trail, and you're going to watch it all the way through. Mm-hmm. And the algorithm sees if you watch it all the way through, and if you watch it a second time, a third time, algorithm's like, whoa, this guy's got fire here. Let's send it out to somebody else. You hook them, and it becomes literally viral.
Yeah.
So all of this was intentional, but I didn't intentionally try and focus on Instagram, which is the ironic thing. Mm-hmm. I really so you have to like to do this, right? Mm-hmm. And I've poo-pooed social media for a long time. And it's an easy position to get into. But I feel like once you get a nugget of like, oh shit, this shit worked, you're naturally gonna be like, let me see if I can do it again. Mm-hmm. And then it becomes fun. It becomes like a bit of a craft in itself. So back to what I was about to say. I really like making long format videos. I like the craft of it. I like the storytelling of it. And that is lost on short form, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. There's no fucking storytelling unless you're really, really good at it. So I liked making the YouTube videos. I used to YouTube a bit back in the day. On the other podcast, we talked about the film I made and whatever. That's all on there. But I kind of came back to it. And then when I was done editing a long form, YouTube video, I would just take all the action bits and do a cut down and edit it, vertically and all this other stuff and the YouTube growth has been solid. Like when I started this build, I had like 6,000 something subscribers, and now I have 11,500. And the growth is always slower on YouTube. You don't get that virality really. Yeah. It's different. But anyway, I'm very happy with that growth. Was not focused on Instagram, but Instagram has fucking exploded.
Yeah, I mean, I was telling Dustin today, like you had a handful of million plus, more or less viral videos that kind of 100% like really like drove that stuff. Like I said, you were playing you figured out the algorithm or how to make what you do work with the algorithm and whatnot. How do you feel about because you and I, we've spent a lot of time after bike night at the second bar going down rabbit holes about content creation, making videos and all that type of shit. So is there something about like making a YouTube video that maybe feels a little bit more like you're making something for longer? Like it's like when I think of a reel, I think of a reel as more like I don't know.
It's like a commercial. It's commercial. Like it's such a little snapshot. It's like a bottle rocket, right?
Yeah. That's a good analogy.
I'd rather build a rocket ship, to be honest, and go for a story. And going on that tangent of the wormholes that we go on at the second bar after bike night. Yeah. I got something to say, I guess. I'm not like on a mission or dying on a hill or anything, but like if I'm going to tell a story or say something, you need more than 15 seconds to do it. And so I feel like I get to do that there. And with building a bike, I like to share. I like to gatekeep. When I'm hanging out with friends, I like to ask questions about how they're doing things, and they like to ask me, and I like to tell. So it's just another format to do that. And there's the posterity of it. Like after you build the bike, sure, the bike's there, but people can actually go back and see what the process is like. Even sometimes like I'll go back and watch something of my own. Not all the time, but sometimes I do. My film, I probably watch like 2-3 times a year.
I'll tell you straight up. Like I if I haven't made a video in a while, I literally will go watch a couple just so that I can remind my inner self that, hey, you know how to do this.
Yeah.
So go do it, or see where you left off and try to make it better this time, something like that. Yeah. But yeah, I'm with you on that.
So for the longest time, building and filming seemed dreadful. It was very difficult. It's like, it's not even doubling the work. It feels like tripling the work. Moved into this house January of 2025 and set up the garage like from scratch. Got all the lights in there and all this other stuff. And when I started working on projects, started with the Ducati. Now I'm back to the Ducati, but kind of got pushed to the side with the Enfield, and something just started to kind of click. And I was able to have fun managing the camera and the build at the same time. And one of the things that it did do was slow the whole process down, which actually somehow made building the bike more enjoyable. The turnaround of the whole bike was relatively quick. It was a very simple bike.
Yeah.
But it actually made it more enjoyable, which is the exact opposite of how I felt about it before. Maybe something just clicked. But at the end of it, I did feel like I got two great things. I got the bike and I got the videos. And that's been
Do you think there's like an aspect of pacing that had to take place so that you didn't get too far ahead of yourself in certain areas of the build?
Yeah, actually. My mind's like going through all the different ways to think about, or different moments, or how I could even say it. But I can definitely get hasty when I'm building, and it slowed me down. That's like what I would come back to. Like, I'll just run and get this thing done. I'll run and get this thing done. And maybe skip a little step, and I think there's also an element of like, now everybody's watching.
Yeah.
Have to do it nice and right every time. Keep my shop space clean.
You don't want all the comments being like, yeah, you didn't torque that bolt. I didn't see any Loctite on it. That's not how you do. That's not the torque sequence.
They'll jump on you for that shit. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I try also with the videos to not let it be so mundane. Like, here's a 60-second time lapse of me socket wrenching,
Yeah, I mean, same. I try to think of any kind of doing a YouTube video. Like, as much as everybody in the world thinks that the riding footage is like so much fun to watch, it's like, to me personally, and maybe I'm different. I don't want to watch someone ride a bike. I want to see them pass the time and go to the next spot. And if you can find some cool visuals, cool angles to show me that transition from one place to another, I'm cool with that. But I'm not trying to watch you ride the entire Lolo Pass. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think it comes down to pacing, and not to, jack each other off here, but I think you understand pacing really well. And at the end of the day, it's storytelling, because like your vlogs, and I think, I'm not watching all your analytics and everything, but I think your vlogs are doing quite well compared to all the different kind of stuff you put out. Podcasts, I think build updates.
I think the fucking my YouTube is like, doesn't know what to do with me, because I'll put out a 15-minute video and the next week it's a 3-hour video, and then 4 3-hour videos in a row, and then a 15-minute video, and it's like,
there might be something to that, but I wouldn't let the algorithm hold you back from doing the things that you do.
Yeah. Well, I think right now, like, it's probably the purest form of like enjoyment of doing it, because like when I'm making a vlog or going through that process, like, I'm not really thinking about it in a sense of like, oh, well, I'm going to get to Thrashing's level or some kind of thing. Like, there's no kind of expectation on the other end.
I think that's a mistake. I think it's a mistake for anybody to have like a concrete outcome of where they need to be, where they need to go, how quickly they have to get there, all this other stuff. I think if you're doing it for other people other than the way you want to do it, you've made a mistake, and that will somehow come through in the video itself. And people can smell it. And it's not like they're like, oh, he's trying too hard.
Yeah. It's always, for me, just been about figuring out or getting the skills, both, technologically on the tech side and on the mentality side of if I could just accurately show the life that I have going on, I think that and this might be pretentious. I think it's interesting. The bikes, the people, the rides, the events, the shit that goes on. But unfortunately, I also want to show the partying, the drinking.
I'm sure somebody's going to misconstrue that as like, oh, this guy's full of himself. But I think at the end of the day, this whole scene, it's a scene. It's about culture. It's about goings on. It's about people. It's about all these things. And with the internet, a lot of scenes have expanded because it's given a little window, insight, access to it all. And I think, so many people in this space or anything like it, anybody from the outside would ask, like, why do you put so much time and effort and dedication to all this? It's all contributory. Everybody's trying to contribute. Mm-hmm. I know that's what you're trying to do. I know that's what I'm trying to do. And I think anybody who's worth a shit will recognize that.
And I agree. That's kind of, where I set a goal for myself this year. Partly I'm based on, I couldn't keep up with the pace that you had at the beginning of the year building the Royal Enfield shop, because you were doing a week every week, like putting one out. And that, obviously that helps grow things when you can be that consistent. But there's no way.
Well, don't beat yourself up. I was unemployed at that time. Now I'm reemployed and the pace has slowed way down.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to getting back to some stuff. It's not going to be a frame up custom bike build back to back to back to back. So I, like you, I'm going to have to explore a couple different things. Still same theme, still same idea, but it's going to be something new, and maybe it's not as good, or at least, performance wise.
Yeah, that's kind of where I try to keep my mind. Is that like I'm not placing the value on anything that I do based on like how many people view it. Yeah. And when it comes to long form content and making YouTube videos, I really keep this in the forefront of my mind, which is kind of contradictory to like all the stuff we were just talking about trying to be viral and things like that. But a lot of the things that I have found in the last couple of years that have really been motivational to me or have been inspiring, which same fucking word, same meaning, like has been stuff that's been out for 10, 12 years, but it exists in a form that I can go and consume it and get the message that was put out 10 years ago. And so if everything, not to make it as a generalization, like over everything, but if everything is about like fitting today's standards, and how does that look in 10 years from now when like maybe my FXR chopper build process or this one for the customer Cody, like that might be something that when someone watches that 10 years from now, like, or they watch your Royal Enfield documentary, which was over 10 years ago, right? So it's like, I want to make stuff that just means something to me and put it out there. And hopefully it gets some success now just to, keep the ball rolling. But it'd be so dope to be able to have somebody find that video 10 years ago. Dude, that shit you did 10 years ago is fucking inspiring me right now. And that's, to me, the fun and the...
I think that, to me, what you just said goes straight back to what you said about... I'll take one, too. Pause. I'm almost there.
Man, amateur hour. The bucket's not on the table?
It's so weird.
First time? First podcast, Jason?
Well, maybe if I don't have to... It's not that accessible. I won't drink as many.
Touche. Yeah. Touche.
So I think it... I'm not actually done with this one. I think it goes back to what you were saying before. If it's good, if it's quality stuff, if it meant something to you, it's probably going to be pretty good. And then it's timeless. Like classic music, it's not classic because it's old. It's classic because it's withstood the test of time.
Yeah.
And you never know. You might make something that you're really proud of, and it's kind of bunk for the first week, no views, right? Mm-hmm. But especially on YouTube, fuck Instagram, fuck TikTok for all this stuff. It's not going to live that long. But on YouTube, that shit's there forever.
Yeah.
And if you start chasing the wrong stuff and what you're trying to create, it's going to take you to probably not a place you want to go to.
Yeah, yeah. Just intentional. Like that's I think that's my whole purpose with it all is like I wanted, what I was trying to say a while ago before I got a little sidetracked is like I made a promise to myself to put out at least 2 videos a month.
Yeah.
I did not last month. May, I was balls deep in the spike. So what I'm doing is, okay, well, now I owe May 2 months. I owe 2 videos for May. And so by the end of the year, I at least need to have 24 videos that I put out throughout this year is basically the goal that I'm trying to stick to. If I have to pay a late fee, I'll put 26 out, okay?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's kind of the plan. And hopefully, like say, for instance, this one I just put out this week, I knew I needed to do something. I did not know if I really had anything to show that was really of substance, but I feel like, what if I just kind of catch people up what's going on? Bike's almost done. Shovelhead's kind of dialed. We're doing this show. We're going to this place. Let's go ride around Dallas. Haven't shot any photos.
I think that's enough.
Yeah.
I think, it may not serve a wider audience, but your core audience.
Yeah.
And if you are making it for anybody, because eventually, you never forget about like people watching it, especially once you get to like at least a minimum level where you see same people commenting or people bring it up like in person for like, oh shit, you actually watched it, which it's still kind of surprising me. But if your video has 1,000 views, that means there's 1,000 people out there that has seen your face on a screen.
I've gone through this weird phase over the last almost 10 years of putting out podcasts and shit, where you go through this phase where you don't think anybody's watching or listening, and then all of a sudden you feel like everybody is, and then you kind of operate on that kind of plane that like, oh yeah, everybody's listening to this podcast, and then when you realize that not everybody is, it's kind of an up and down kind of deal of like.
So that's kind of what I was about to say with the core audience. So the core audience is like your top 10%, the people that are going to watch because you put something out. And you're ultimately always going to think about the audience. You should do, first filter is like, you make what you want to make. Mm-hmm. And when you're trying to consider your audience, consider the core 10%, not the top 10%. That's kind of beside the point. Like the core people. And think about them. Don't think about like, oh, what if this other person watched it or whatever? Like, imagine some famous person commented on your video. Don't let fucking Brad Pitt get in your head and be like, oh, I'm making a video for Brad Pitt or some bullshit like that.
Yeah. No, agreed. That's kind of weird. It's just a weird kind of like thing you have to almost check yourself every once in a while. And basically what I'm getting at is over the course of the last 10 years, there are times where you feel like, there was parts of this podcast era where it felt like it was literally the source of information for a whole style of motorcycling. And then obviously that's changed. And getting back into like, okay, well, who is actually listening? Especially when I started doing more chopper shit. I don't know how many of the chopper dudes really listen to this stuff. And I'm not necessarily making content for them or not. I'm just kind of like, I'm interested in said person. And the things I want to talk about, I hope that like that core audience that you're referring to will go down these paths with me. You know what I mean?
I think they are.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they are. I mean, we're seeing a lot of chopper interest, you know, happening. But I think that's just happening in general. Like a lot of people are looking. I don't know if it's like more of like another way of like being or a part of something more nostalgic. You know what I mean? Like there's so many aspects of. I feel like society right now that's looking for something more tangible. And even though a motorcycle is a very tangible thing, whether it's brand new or 40 years old, there's something about that older bike that like is saying something about what you're saying to the world and why you're on it or some shit like that, Yeah. I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of things I could say about choppers. I don't build a lot of choppers. The most recent thing I did, and it, by anybody watching this, at least 9 out of 10, they're like, that's not a chopper because it's not a Harley Davidson.
Oh no, it's a chopper,
which is fine.
Oh no, it's a chopper.
usually the chopper, chopper haters come if you have any sort of suspension.
I don't want to go down that road. I don't care about the chopper haters. But what I wanted to say is like my method, if I can borrow the term method, or like my ideal version of building a bike, is the chopper method.
Yeah.
It's let me put this thing on here that's not supposed to go on here. Let me delete all these things that the factory that built this bike said I needed.
Yeah.
Let me think of something a little bit outside of the box. Haven't seen it done that way. And let me do it myself and try. I think that's like the original chopper ideal is like, this is probably just a little bit above my pay grade or way above my pay grade.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go for it. And then the outcome is just awesome.
Yeah.
So that's like, to me, that's we've been using the word core a lot, but like that is the central theme of whenever I'm building anything, that's.
Yeah.
So I use foundation. We're gonna switch it up.
Yeah. Foundation. That's the foundation of how I would approach building anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think the story, and did we talk about the story of the infield chop that you just finished and like how that was like an original?
I forget.
I can't remember if that was on the other podcast, but maybe for the context of people listening now, what's the quick story behind that bike?
Yeah. So it was a complete accident. Like wasn't intending on it at all. I do have a certain section of my heart dedicated to Royal Enfield, amongst many other things that I like to do.
Yeah.
And like I made this documentary about Royal Enfield culture. That was a Kevin Costner Field of Dreams situation.
Yeah.
And it was actually a person who supported on Kickstarter the film, and then I got home and then I built like a very mild custom. It wasn't like frame up or anything, based on this exact bike. And then he bought that bike. Talk about influence, because I bought it. Mm-hmm. And then one of the things I did, it came fuel injected, but that motor platform had a carbureted variant in India. Mm-hmm. And I got all the parts to convert it to carburetor because chopper shit. Mm-hmm. That's the core idea, the foundational ideal, right? So he bought all that stuff, and then it sat on his lift for years. And then he called me one day last year, and he was like, I have to get this thing out of my garage. My wife's going to kill me. If you do something with it, you can have it. Yeah. And it was just like, I know exactly what to do.
Nice. What would you say is like, I'm a fan of like carburetors over fuel injection, not talking like high performance, things like that, but what is your take on like removing fuel injection to have a carburetor? Is it?
Well, I'll give you both sides of the coin.
Okay.
Simply put, a carburetor is better to look at than a throttle body. It's not so much the throttle body, it's like
all the wires attached to
all the things that come along with it. It's and some of them are quite simple, right? It's not the fuel injector sticking out of it. It's not the fuel line that leads to the fuel injector. It's all the other stuff. And with the chopper ideal, the idea is to simplify to the nth degree. Mm-hmm. And you kind of limit yourself with that. Whereas a carburetor, especially like, let's talk about Harley Davidson choppers. Like if you don't have a magneto, is it really a chopper? Some people would say that.
Those
right?
are nerds. Yeah.
Yeah. But nerds know their shit. Yeah. And it's so simple because it's literally
derogatory nerd.
It's cool because it has this like very cyclical thing about it. The motor turns the spark. It's like a chicken and the egg. It's a beautiful thing. It's like they both exist. The motor turns the magneto, which fires, which the spark creates the motor turning, plus the gas and all this other stuff.
So what happens first, the spark or the turn? And it's
well,
the turn happens.
The
first.
kick, which begins the turn, and then it just goes
so you're
on
the
itself.
god of the chopper.
It lives harmoniously together.
Yeah. So I think that's the really cool part about it. And when you remove all that stuff, it just becomes so simple and pleasing to look at because there's just not that much to look at. You focus on the things that are there.
Small side tangent, just because it's on my mind, but kind of in line with what we're talking about. That was also one of the reasons why I kind of wanted to remove the M unit stuff, because the M unit, when we were messing with it, it was throwing a code essentially saying we're not going to let everything work because there's this thing that we're not getting right now. And yeah, we could have spent the time and figured it out. But what I thought about for the instance of the owner of this bike is like, what if he's out riding and this thing decides, oh, well, there's a little weird irregularity in one of the wires and now it's not working, as opposed to like.
I think you nailed it. I think you nailed it. It is contrary to the concept of what the bike is supposed to be in this regard. Now, Moto Gadget, they're from Germany. They have very strict rules. You have to have a horn. So in that context, they have simplified it.
Yeah.
You know, and when you throw the minimum bar of like German engineering and everything working harmoniously for harmony's sake, then, you know, that kind of fits the equation, so to speak. But I think I've gone with M unit before and I've skipped it on other stuff. I don't think that I've ever gone too far to one side or the other with it. And it kind of has felt weird. It also feels weird. It's like, all right, I have this really technical, tiny little box and I'm using like 10% of the functionality of it.
It's so clean, and that's kind of like probably like what was enticing me to want to run it in the first place.
Yeah,
is because I wanted, if you know, that I'm building this bike for this gentleman that's like a forever bike. It's his birth year bike. He wants it forever. Yeah. So I want him to be able to, you know, if someone takes it apart in 20 years to modify it or do something to it, I want to be like, oh, that's some good stuff. They weren't fucking around back in 2026. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. As opposed and the way the M unit stuff looks is good. I mean, the breaker situation, I mean, every bike I own right now, other than the Road Glide, has breakers, and I've ridden my Gold Chopper everywhere, and I've never had an issue with wiring on a bike. Obviously, like removing all the extra shit that comes on old carbureted bikes also helps.
Yeah.
So, like, if you have an FXR and you want to make it work, you know, minus the turn signals are adding a shit ton of wires to it. Like the amount of wires that a turn signal TSM
easily like 50 feet of wire.
It's so much more. It's like now, like I'm
because it's like the full length of the bike times 4.
Yep.
Times 2 because of the negatives.
Yep.
So there's just ground out at like at the handlebar or whatever, but then you have a bunch of eye bolts grounding everything.
Yeah, and it looks tacky. Like I want the wires to come apart and come to a home under the battery in the battery box area and stuff. But I mean, essentially, like in some of like Cody, the gentleman I'm building the bike for, some of his like maybe concerns about going carburetor versus all the other things was he's used to carburetors on a dirt bike, but not on a motorcycle. And I think so many people have this in their head that carburetors are somehow unreliable, when it's technically the most reliable thing there is.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't really understand that too, because I had concerns. I mean, thrashing and like fueling and 2 Lane Life, they did a whole thing last year. Like, we're buying old carburetor bikes and riding them to Sturgis, and everybody's bike worked fine, except for the chopper that kept falling apart. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, it's not a carburetor is like a bad thing, you know?
Literally for 100 years, motorcycles ran on carburetors, and cars did until, you know, when did fuel injection come into play?
80s. Early
80s, right? So I think, carburetors are as reliable as anything else. Now you have to.
It requires more from you. It's not just a button,
right?
You know.
Yeah.
But it's like, as a man, like you should want to know that shit, right? As a man, you should want to know how to choke a carburetor and turn on a motorcycle.
But you know what the most emasculating thing is? When you're running an EFI system and it breaks down and you're like, I don't know what the fuck to do.
Is anybody? Yeah, like Does anybody have like a scan tool or
So
something?
you're kind of resting on your laurels a little bit.
Yeah.
With the carburetor example, but
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think there should be some. I mean, we're riding a motorcycle should it should invoke a lot more of like you should be connected to the bike more. And I think a carburetor provides a very unique connection to it. If you're a horsepower junkie or any, there's maybe I'll let you enter this. What's the caveat? What's the other side of the coin?
I was gonna steer it back there.
Yeah.
So I moved into this house, set up the garage. I started working on this Ducati. It's a 1990s parts bike, 900 Super Sport. And the motor is from 1999. It's the first or second year of fuel injection. That same motor came carbureted, can easily be converted back to carburetor.
Yeah.
I'm keeping the fuel injection because it's going to be a daily bike. And that's kind of the antithesis of what we just said. I could totally carburate it and be just as reliable.
Yeah.
But fueling, if it gets, whatever, it always works. And the Ducati I think there's a myth that even I believe that, they're kind of temperamental, they're Italian, the fuel injection and the whole system behind it is like from the Stone Age, actually. It's very basic and it's
most
just
90s motorcycle fuel injection is trash.
Not this one.
It isn't?
So I can't say that on good authority, except that I've had a little bit of a cheat code. My friend Dan, Ducati Dan, we call him. He's better than AI when it comes to this stuff. He knows fucking everything.
That's nice, yeah.
And steeped. He's actually like a senior electronics specialist for Jaguar Land Rover. So he's clearly on the level.
I mean, if that was like Jaguar, you got to fucking know how to. Jaguar's always been plagued with wiring problems. Maybe in the 80s and 90s,
right?
And stuff,
but now it's like a rolling computer, right?
Yeah.
And so like he's clearly used to playing on a level in the stratosphere compared to where we are. But he's also a huge Ducati guy, so I get easy access to him, and he'll help me with all this other stuff. But he also just knows a bunch about the platform, like. The beauty of the Harley community is that there's so much knowledge within a degree or two of separation, right? Somebody who knows somebody who knows the shit. So he's been that for me. And he was like, dude, this is a great fuel injection system. I'm running 20-year-old fuel injectors in mine and they run great. So I was like, all right, I'll keep that. And I know that because I want it to be able, it's not like a fast bike, but I want it to be able to do what it's supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And I'm chopping some shit on it. It's going to get pod filters. And he was like, yeah, you can just run pod filters. You don't have to change anything in the map. And if it was carburetor, I have to rejet it. And, I know a bit about carburetors, but I'm not like...
Yeah. I'm not either. And that's
not
why
as manly as I could be.
Yeah. That's also kind of like the point of like, I've want to, an S&S Super E carburetor is like one of the most common carburetors you'll ever see out there. Mm. I've always been a Mikuni guy, and I feel like Mikunis are like just kind of idiot proof. Like you really don't have to do much to them. Mm. Every once in a while you might be, have to adjust the main screw on it, which like helps the idle kind of act right.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to learn the S&S, and like I'm nervous about riding that to California because of
that's what you have on your chop.
On the chop is S&S. But, on that, so the dude Cody, when he bought that FXR, that motor or the bike came from one of the engineer dudes at S&S, right?
Already set up jetted for everything.
Jetted for that Evo motor. So when
that happens.
I pulled that carb apart and I looked at his jets. And I mean, it's a stock motor. And I was like, for the longest, so I copied the jetting on mine, right? And it's typically I think stock is 28 point something on an intermediate, 68 or some shit on the main jet, and like 40 on the pilot jet or some shit. Well, his was set at 32 on the intermediate and 60 on the pilot, and then 68 on the main. And me and Corey, I was having all those problems starting the bike because I mimicked it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I was giving it too much gas is what was the problem when I first started kicking it. And then when it broke.
What you just said was that the pilot was much larger.
So
from
the
a
pilot
40 to 60.
Yeah. So
so you're giving it gas and it's just flooding
it's just flooding it out, right? But now that I know that, I don't have to give as much gas. Yeah. So anyway, come to find out through AI is that the quarter turn throttle hiccup and cough is a very, very common thing on S&S carbs, right? And apparently, and then the AI also said, well, a lot of people will run a higher pilot jet so that the handoff from the main or the intermediate jet to the pilot is a little bit more of a better transition. And I guess that might be what's going on there. I'm still an idiot, so if you're listening to this and you're like, oh my God, you fucking dumbass.
It's all right.
You call yourself a chopper rider?
Leave it in the comments.
Idiots here.
Leave it in the comments.
But anyway, I just did the video on it. So when the charging system took a shit on me, I put the jetting back to completely factory per specs of S&S, right? And then I kind of had to learn to re-kick it. And then I've had a cough the entire last month and a half, right? I said, you know what? I want to fucking go back to the other jets that was in there and see if that changes something. And dude, when I went and rode all day Sunday, it was fucking perfect. Not one cough, not one hiccup. It's smooth.
On the jets that it came with from the guy at the factory, at the S&S factory.
At the S&S, yeah. So it's again, it's a 32, intermediate, 68 main, and 60 pilot. Mm-hmm. And
it's funny you say intermediate. I always thought of it. I just called it the needle.
It looks more like a needle, you know?
Everybody just called it.
I don't know. I'm also learning the lingo.
Because the needle can be a different shape, and then there's eclipse where you can raise and lower, which basically.
There was a guy that asked like one of the comments on that YouTube video, and was like, "Hey, what'd you end up going to?" I tried to answer it, but I also felt like, man, I don't want to answer it and then have to explain it for 20 minutes as to where I got this idea from and what is actually happening. Because I don't know if that would work in a different part of the country because of altitude or whatever the hell might be, what exhaust they're running. I just know that it's working for mine.
Yeah.
And originally, when I did when I rode that bike to Oklahoma and I was getting like 85, 90 miles out of the tank, like that's what the jetting was. And then when I changed the jetting back to stock and I rode to Decatur and then came home, I fucking ran out of gas with less jets, like with putting less gas in it. It makes no fucking sense.
Interesting.
So
what was your throttle position?
I don't know. Fucking.
If it's more open, even with smaller jets.
So if it's more open with smaller jets, it's.
I mean, I don't know either, but like, I'm saying out loud what I'm thinking. Like, if you have smaller jets and you have to hold it open, you're dumping more fuel. Whereas if you have bigger jets and you have like a sweet spot that is just a trickle, I don't know.
What might be
someone help us with our carburetors. We're trying to.
What might be the issue is that was the way the jetting was set up when I initially started riding the bike. And I also was still learning how the bike felt at higher speeds. So I didn't push the bike as hard as I have no idea how fast I'm going. But like, you know, when it starts getting a little vibratey up in the handlebars, I'm like, I'm going to back off a little bit and make it to where it's not that.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm getting used to the vibration and I'm pushing it harder. That could be an issue too. So next weekend, I'm going to ride at the Paradise Roadshow with me and Kyle and some other buddies are going to ride down there. So I'll see what kind of like highway miles I'm going to get then. Because I want to know before I go to Cali. So I don't want to say I can do 95 miles an hour.
I think that would be a
or
good
95.
Trip.
Yeah.
I mean, 200 miles. If you went there and back in a day, that's 400 miles. I think that's a real test, but you can't.
Yeah.
You got to enjoy
I'm
the
very show. Like, you know how like something that is so unfamiliar and you're so tuned into it, and then you get to that point where it starts to feel like subconscious, like we were saying earlier. It's like subconsciously I feel like kicking a bike now. I don't even like I can feel it. I can feel. All right. What's it? It's like I'm not thinking about it as much as I was before, and everything starts to feel a little bit more like connected. It's weird. It's a dope feeling. But I wonder if like that was one of the main things I was in love with about this whole process. And now that it's becoming kind of like not as visceral because it's now just a part of like I'm getting kind of woo woo. Like, where's my? Can you grab those rocks over there real quick so I can shuffle them? But I wonder if like once
you're saying that the feeling is wearing off,
or I don't think it is, but I'm saying I wonder if that feeling does wear off because I start to just trust everything so much because there's I don't have any worries anymore. I wonder if the worrying is what I'm in love with, is the uncertainty, you know?
You like the stress.
A level of stress is like, it keeps people feeling alive, I think.
Yeah.
Living a little dangerously.
Yeah.
I think I can agree with that. I like a little bit of heat.
Tension. You know?
Tension. Yeah.
I don't know. Again, it's just trying to figure out the words to put to like ask the questions or put out the feeling as to what's been so sick about riding this old bike. I still can't really, you know, it again, I might have said this before, but like it drives me nuts when somebody hits me up and says, man, I'm really thinking about building a chopper. I want to do a chopper now, but they want to do everything but chopper shit. Mm-hmm. Oh, I want fuel injected. I want this. I want that. I was like, dude, like everything that you want is what like makes it not feel this way. Mm-hmm. Like if you want to do a chopper, do it the hard way. It's not, hardtails are not that bad. You know, it's certain people, certain setups, right? But I don't know. Anyway, I ran out of breath on that one.
Put a bike shock in your seat if you're worried about a hardtail.
Yeah.
There's always a couple tricks.
I felt, dude, you rode my bike, I rode your bike.
Yeah.
And I told you I felt like your bike was stiffer than mine. Yeah. And you rode my bike.
And Trey said the same thing. He was like, it's definitely stiffer. And I you know, I'm not that like well versed in all of motorcycling, but I had never ridden a proper Harley Davidson hardtail chopper before.
Yeah.
And I've ridden a couple, you know, retarded things that I've built, rigids and stuff like that. And I was like, well, it's a rigid. It's rigid.
Yeah.
And there's a couple theories as to why it feels so rigid. I'm not too concerned because it's going to live in New York City and it's not going to be going super fast and all that stuff. But it was remarkably more rigid than yours.
Yeah.
I have a couple ideas about that. Actually, DeJong was like, I think your super steep rake angle is not allowing the forks to compress.
Yeah.
So the front end feels rigid, right? Even though there's forks. And I have like 5-weight fork oil in there.
Yeah.
But also like, I'm trying to figure out a way to weigh this thing. If you know anybody that has scales for a bike, better than just like hanging it from a hanging scale somewhere.
Yeah.
I feel like it's under 300 pounds. And I used 120 wall tubing, which is standard wall tubing that you would use on a rigid frame build. I think I could have gotten away with 095. Mm-hmm. But and I'm always concerned about making it strong enough. Like, you know, I'm not an engineer, so I kind of overbuild some stuff. And I try and like go just to the limit of overbuilding where like, is it overbuilt? But I know it is. And so it might just be, you know, not absorbing the weight. I used 120. It's mainly 120. There's sections, or sorry, not 120. 1020. There's a section where it's 1026. That's all mild steel.
Yeah.
You know, it's not chromoly. Chromoly is much more, it flexes where you can do the thinner stuff. But with chromoly, like to really get to those characteristics, like in an airframe, you would have to stress relieve it by heating it to a certain temperature for a certain amount of time at a certain rate and cooling down, and can't do that. So I just went with mild. It was cheaper. It was DOM, so it's nicer. Tubing doesn't have a welded seam, but it's probably a little bit overbuilt, and it wasn't that uncomfortable for me, mainly because of the bike shock.
Yeah.
So pretty happy.
Well, do you think possibly that because the bike is just inherently lighter, that maybe it's not transferring enough of that dampening?
The frame itself is not dampening.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that is at least one contributor.
I'm almost willing to bet my motor weighs as much as that fucking the shovel head motor is fucking heavy, dude.
Probably.
It's iron cylinders and shit like that. It's pretty gnarly.
That little motor in this thing is heavier than it should be, though.
For real?
Yeah.
Damn. I don't know. It was when I rode it around the block, I was like, this is pretty fucking heavy. But it's the stance is sick, dude. Like when you ride it, like you feel great. Like it feels like on my Gold Shop, my Gold FXR. It's like you're in attack mode almost.
Yeah,
it feels cool.
I had a very different shape in mind for the handlebars, but then when it came time to sit on it and like make the bars, I was like, I don't know. So I was like, let me just put my hands where I want them to be, and then I built bars for that.
Yeah. No, I think it all came out real, like so tasteful, and it's a testament because I mean, like Mama Tried. Then right after, it was at Mama Tried, right?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, you just went to Mama Tried. That's right. Yeah. Hand Built is where we were because we were trying to get it done for Mama Tried.
Or, we missed all that. I was trying to. So I never met the guy. I don't even know his name, but Cycle Showcase reached out like midway. He was like, "I got a box for you if you want it."
Yeah.
And
Larry was really pushing for both you and I to be there, and I really wanted to go. Like I've been wanting to go to Cycle Showcase for a long time, but it's like a week before Mama Tried, and it feels kind of fucked up to say right now, but like Mama Tried is a whole experience outside of Mama Tried. Like being in Milwaukee in the winter with all the Harley shit going on, or bike shit in general. It's just it's just kind of it's hard, not to want to be there.
I wanted to be there. I thought it was very nice for him to reach out and invite. And Larry, love Larry, and he was like, "You should go."
Yeah,
whatever. So, missed that one just because it wasn't going to be done on time. And I know to avoid the feeling of like, let me just jam through the end and get it. It was a terrible idea. And then I was hoping for Mama Tried, but somebody told me that they had like already overbooked and it was still kind of tight.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not even going to try for that.
Yeah, I think I told you that because I reached out to warning them to see about the purple bike going up there, which I had no idea.
You told me. That's right.
Yeah,
you
I had
told
no
me that
idea.
they were overbooked.
And yeah, they have the venue's relatively small for how big it is now.
Yeah.
And what I'm worried about is because the problem is if you go to a bigger spot than that, it's not going to have that aesthetic and that vibe.
Yeah.
And so to me, maybe
it's the age-old trouble with every motorcycle show is that growth.
I think it might need to be another day. I think maybe they need to open up Friday, Saturday, Sunday now because there's so many. Like it's like you want to go on Saturday because everybody's there, but it's so fucking packed that you can't really see anything, and that place is small. So it's like if you go to the convention center, then it loses all its like swag and style.
Yeah.
But if you maybe open up another,
I would not recommend a convention center.
Oh hell no! It just
happened a couple times, and
kills events, man.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I was asking him about like the purple bike going up there, and he's like, man, it looks sick, but we just don't. We've already booked out everything. I was pretty late to the game asking to bring it. So, but no, I mean you got it at the Hand Built show.
Got it to Hand Built show. I go every year because I like to go to MotoGP, and I've been going to Hand Built show for a while, and it's really just about meeting up with your friends, and it's in the backyard. There's no reason not to go. And then I went to the one show, and I didn't think it's 2,000 miles from here. I did the gas calculation. It was going to be at least $1,000 in gas alone one way, and 2,000 miles is 30 hours of driving. This is all one way, so you got to do it all. No way it was going to go. Royal Enfield of North America. So like they're based in Milwaukee. It's funny. But they brought it up there. I know why they're there because, it's where people who know motorcycles live and work. Right.
Yeah.
Royal Enfield did the same thing in England. They set up their headquarters right next to Triumph.
Yeah.
That's a strategy thing. So anyway, they drug it out there. Big shout out to them for doing that. But I was able to go. I went because the bike was in the show. No reason why you shouldn't go to the one show. It's not like a dedicated chopper show, but dude, the one show is a fucking rad time every time. And Tor is just it wouldn't be that way without him.
Yeah.
And shout out to his wife, Tori. Tor's wife is named Tori.
Is that in Washington or Oregon?
Oregon, Portland.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Fucking awesome show, dude. And they had to go through a venue change So like in 2020, it was like the last show. It was like February 20th or something. Then COVID happened, and in 21 they were able to do it outdoors, kind of outdoors. A big ship building, so it's like a warehouse, like 60 feet tall.
How sick would it be if they lined up? Wasn't Portland where they did the Chaz thing or some shit? Where they started their own community in
Seattle.
the down. That was Seattle. Oh, I was gonna say it'd be sick.
Never heard of that.
Well, like during the COVID stuff, like they like took over a whole city block and just turned it into their own city within it.
Really?
It's like either Portland or Seattle, right?
Sounds like a Portland thing, but Seattle, kind of same thing.
Yeah,
in a way.
They one up each other.
Yeah. So like they had to go through this venue change, and it became like. It was in the spring. It wasn't in the winter. The one thing that I loved about the moto show back in the day was that somehow it always snowed like a foot that weekend. And they get snow, but not like heavy snow.
Yeah.
But it was cold, and it just like brought everybody together like in huddled masses. And when they moved to this one, they had to like reinvent it because it kind of lost what it was just by virtue of the venue itself.
Yeah.
And so this new one, I was there in 21 and 23. So it's been 3 years since I've been, and like it's right back up to speed. It's a fucking wicked show, the one show.
Well, they got all the right pieces of the puzzle. They just had to reconfigure it, basically.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
There's like 300-400 bikes there, and all kinds of bikes. And if you only like choppers, like there's a good 50 fucking choppers there. Really good ones.
To your point of like a wintertime thing and it brings people together, it's like
that's what Mama Tried does.
Yeah, there's
and
always
you don't want to
event.
mess with that recipe.
Yeah, there's always an event where half the people that are there on their bike, they're just not into the crowd. They're not into the aspect of the networking or the hanging out with your bros or any of that shit. They're just like, I want to go ride my bike. And it's like, I understand that, you know, like I get that wholly, but like, and when you have you have a Born Free Cali, like a lot of people are like, I want to be there and it's hot and it's this. And you're like, well, I could be riding the coast right now or riding a mountain. I'm in California, especially if you're not from there, then it's always gonna be pulled that way. I get it.
Just don't go.
Yeah, but that's what I get at when trying to tell people. It's like, look, you come to this event, just immerse yourself in it, be a part of it. And while you're there, a part of it, you're gonna get to do something that you can always go ride that mountain and always ride that coast. Like plan the event, plan the trip so you do those things too. But I've been to places like that with people that are like, oh, I just want to go ride. I was like, dude, we just fucking rode here.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Like, calm down, dude. Get a beer.
I think the shows are more for socializing, catching up with your friends. And that's what I love about shows. Like I mainly go to custom motorcycle shows. I love custom motorcycles. Sometimes I don't even look at the motorcycles. I'm just too busy catching up with friends. And it's always like every single one you add 2 to 5 more friends.
Yeah.
And then after 10, 15 years, it's like a reunion 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a year, which is awesome.
Or you get to a point where you're like, some of your closest friends are literally like these people that you end up connecting with at events all the time. You know,
and then you get a little bit older and you end up seeing them more, even only at these events, right? But you end up seeing them more than like your childhood friends that you're like my best friend, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm dealing with right now. Is I'm getting ready for Born Free California, and we're going on a trip. Right, I'm going with people I met at events. Yeah. We're gonna ride out there together. We're gonna do the event, but that's just a small sliver of this trip. And then on top of it, so then we're gonna go ride after the event, right? And then the thing about it, I'm excited because being from California, I get to see people that I haven't seen in years that are from there, right? And see the people that I've met traveling with you to California, and see people that I don't get to see on a regular basis. I'm more excited about that than seeing any bike there.
Yeah, I mean, like Born Free, I guess to put it in perspective is like, you know, being in the industry, like I work in this industry, I you know, whether it's painting or working on these bikes or doing this podcast. So like for me, it's a chance to go shake the hands of Corey from Arlen Ness, Zach, or go see Brian from Clockworks, go see Chip and Mikey from San Diego Custom, go see Mike and Grant. it's all about like keeping those things, like those relationships alive. Just, hey, look, I'm here again. I'm still relevant, you know, or I'm still alive at least, you know. And it's like doing that. It keeps it. That's how a lot of my opportunities come from being present at these things. And one thing that I've been saying a lot that you kind of always illuminate to me is that not like I've always been this way, but like you put it in good words is like being a good fucking hang, being the kind of person that like people want to like, oh fuck, I want to hang out with Jace, he's here. Yeah. Like trying to be that has gotten me a lot more places than my fucking paint work has gotten me. You know what I'm saying? So, because if it's like, oh, he's a great painter, but goddamn, he's insufferable. And I probably can be insufferable to certain crowds depending on like.
Yeah, I think you have to accept that there's going to be some percentage of people that just aren't going to like you. Or at least that's how I go through life. And I'm like, that 10% off the top, I'm not even going to worry about it.
Yeah.
But you're a social person. I'm a social person. I think that's a natural thing for people like us to want to go through. And then there's other people that just like, they want to be on the bike every single fucking day, and they have bikes in front of them. It's like, you know, putting candy in front of a kid or something. Can't. So it's reminding them of what they want to do, which is fine. That's fine.
I mean, there's just
probably
a reason
not
why
a good
we're
hang anyway.
Yeah, there's a reason why we're the ones last people at the bar every night, and fuck, like I think about like, you know, when Sebastian Von Gasfalt or Josh on my right, when these people come to my house and stay over, we're up in the kitchen until 4 a.m, not even drinking, just talking about all the different things that we're into, that we connect on, that we find like when we talk about these things, we inspire each other, you know, like whether it's photography or making videos and content or building bikes or whatever the case may be. Like that conversation just doesn't really end to me, you know. It's like, all right, we got to cut off here and we'll pick this back up next week.
Yeah. So, well, especially with you somehow pull it out of everybody. It's not so difficult to pull out of people like Sebastian or me or anybody else, but you keep it going. I'm glad you landed on a podcast.
Fuck, I don't know. Like, yeah, thanks to all the homies that pushed me to do it. So, but anyway, but I think you know, you were building this bike, you know, kind of calling back to the beginning of this podcast. You're building this bike, you're doing this like social media push. And I remember, you know, talking with you quite a bit about how you were really wanting to get back into the job force, you know, like like there was a possibility of just doing YouTube as like a full-time gig or pushing it to that direction. But like, I think you and I are in the same boat that we kind of like love doing it, but the idea of it, like trusting it, that it's going to be consistently paying off every month, like a job would be.
Yeah.
It's kind of a scary thing. It's a scary gamble, you know?
I think that, first of all, that's right. I think there's a few contributors to that. And like we already touched on earlier, there's a concern is like, do I need to squeeze all the juice from my cherished lemon here to, will it ruin the love of doing what I love to do anyway? Am I going to sell out? Am I going to become, you know, a shill for brands or all this other stuff, become performative, or put yourself under the pressure of like, I need to upload something every single week.
Yeah, which is a lot of pressure. And
it's especially difficult when the subject matter of what you're making videos about is expensive, right? I wish I could, you know, like the makeup girls, they just put makeup on, and I guess that's expensive too. I wish I could just get on. I don't actually wish, but
wish you just pull your titties out.
Yeah,
I gotta pee. I want to get in this. I gotta pee real quick.
All right.
The feet finder for the guys just doesn't seem to work out the same. We don't get the same ROI.
You know, I would. I put it right back into the motorcycles.
Right. Just use one to feed the other. But no, I'm with you. Makeup is a lot. Not that they don't invest money, but they don't invest the same. The money they're investing is minuscule compared to what we're doing with motorcycles. It's just so much more expensive.
Yeah.
And it's not as easy to just go, okay, cool, I'm going to drop a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 every week just to continue to tune in.
Yeah.
That's a challenging one.
But also, so we'll just continue this conversation while Jace is.
Yeah.
I've always maybe I should do it when he's back here. He can edit all this stuff.
Right.
I've always subsidized my building with my own income.
Sure.
And because I would do that anyway. Well, obviously with the building, but like the videos and stuff. So I've always been employed unless I took a sabbatical to go do a thing, which I did when I was bartending.
You post videos and you forget that people actually watch it. I remember I was at work one day and somebody that doesn't know any of my social medias was at work and said, hey, so I was at my house the other day and all of a sudden I heard your voice on the TV. My mom was watching one of your barbecue review videos and I was like, what the fuck?
Yo,
because I started thinking like, I don't know if I want my coworkers' parents watching my YouTube channel. Yeah. That can go awry really fast. And I thought to myself,
just stick to the barbecue stuff.
Right? I started thinking to myself, damn, like I can't believe that you forget that it's in the world and there's people outside the people that you think are going to watch it that can run across your videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's a reason why you should always make what you want to make.
Yeah.
and don't chase any like, you know, funny little thing that might not age well or whatever. But I know exactly what you mean. Like it's happened a couple times now where I was at a show or something and they're like, hey. I'm like, I don't know you. And they're, I mean, usually they're cool, right?
Yeah.
Generally. Like, you don't know me, but I watch your videos. You convince me to get back in the garage and dust off this project and it's a really good feeling.
Yeah.
So,
and your videos definitely like invoke that kind of feeling to want to like go in the garage and do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
well, let's talk about the first prompt you just had for me. I'm calling it a prompt now. Yeah, so I wanted to get back to work because I was unemployed, but kind of in this funky space where my previous employer was me. It was my business. Started a company, paid myself through that company for like 3.5 years. Very difficult to go back to something not that. Ended up landing at RMFG, shout out. Can talk about that a little bit later, but it's a startup. It really checks a lot of my boxes, but I've always subsidized what I do with my own income, building, making videos, all this other stuff. And that has been my trick to focus on what I want to do. Because you know, you have your income, you got to pay for yourself to live, family, whatever. And whatever you have left over, like that's going to show you what you really care about, right?
Yeah.
That's where energy goes, something flows, something, whatever. So that's how I focus on keeping it kind of pure. But I was talking about just a second ago how expensive this hobby or passion or thing is. And, you know, to kind of throw a topic out there, with this growth of social media, I'm starting to get people reaching out to me wanting to sponsor some stuff. And it's really become kind of not a conflict, it's not really a conundrum, but I feel like there's a very fine line to walk. And we've spoken about this a lot because obviously this podcast is sponsored, all this other stuff. And it's difficult because a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, fucking sponsors, like, you know, they're put it in front of my face, so I'm not going to even look into it. And a lot of advertising, especially digitally, it's become a blind spot for a lot of people. And then there's the whole thing of like, I don't want to be like a corporate shill or something, or like, buy this stuff. And, you know, everybody follows some big account, some big personality, some big influencer, right? And you know when they're like getting paid, whether it's like marked or whatever, it's just like, why are they talking about this? Why are they forcing this down my throat? And that kind of sucks. So I don't want to do that, but I have a couple things coming up. And, you know, I don't hold any secrets. And if this bars me from getting future sponsorship, then this is what you got. But there's a couple sponsorships I'm actually really excited about. And it has brought me kind of back into the beginning of the thing. Is like, how do I tell this story? It's like a new constraint. It's like, all right, I'm going to do it in my, and they say, like, they're pretty hip to it. Do it in your own authentic voice. Like, yeah, of course.
You mean the algorithm's voice?
Yeah, that's true. But it's like a new problem to solve. And I kind of like that. So, for example, Miller Welders hit me up and I was flabbergasted.
Yeah.
Because, I'll just preface that by saying I'm getting hit up by all these Chinese companies. And, I'm not going to say like, fuck this, fuck that, blah, blah, blah. But it's kind of like, I'm not really interested. And they want to do the affiliate model where that forces me to be like, buy this stuff so I can earn.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a conflict of interest. Whereas Miller is like, the creme de la creme of American built welders. They've been around forever. And I don't even have a Miller welder.
Yeah.
I would love to have one, but I went with Everlast. It's a solid welder. And they stipulated in the terms that I can't show any other competitors or anything in there. But they sent me a welding helmet, right? Mm-hmm. And it was really interesting. And it's about to go live in like a couple days, right? Mm-hmm. So they wanted to, they're trying to showcase this helmet. And it's like relatively new technology. It's super crisp and super clear. And I've always advocated, like, if you're going to use something every day, or if it's an important tool, get the best thing that you can.
Yeah.
If it's a once in a while tool, you can go the cheap route because you can't buy the best thing unless you're...
Can't justify it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I never knew about this new technology. I've been used to, being able to comparatively see nothing.
Yeah. And
so I put this helmet on, I'm like, holy fuck. And so I thought to myself, I was like, how do you, if I just get on the camera like, Miller sent me this helmet, it's really good, you should buy it.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that. But you should see this. So it kind of sold me. So I was like, how do I tell the story? Back to the constraint, how do I show the story? They gave me the helmet and like a welding jacket and gloves, and I had to wear it in the video because like safety department, whatever. I don't normally wear that stuff. But it's like a $500 helmet. I never would have bought it because I would have allocated those dollars somewhere else.
Yeah. You're used to what.
But now that I've used the helmet, I was like, if I fucking knew, I'd go buy the helmet. So now I'm trying to like actually advocate for getting a nice piece of gear that I think is actually worth it, even though I didn't go out and buy it myself. And so they're like, how do you tell that story? And I was like, you just have to see this to believe it. Mm-hmm. So I thought about like, how do I like tape a GoPro in there to see it? It was all fucked up. And so I ended up buying Oakley Meta glasses. And I got the Oakleys not because I like the frame, but because it has the center mount camera. And I came over to use yours, the Ray-Bans, and it's off to the side,
so
and
you see the inside of the helmet. Yeah,
you'd see like the whole shell of the helmet, not even through the glass.
Yeah.
So they sent me this $500 helmet and no pay to make this post, and then I spent $670 on the glasses to get the shot. And so I'm like a bad influencer, I guess. But it's back to the like, all right, I really want to do this in a good
You care about what
way.
You're putting out more than you care about the fact that you just got it for free. Like it's a great opportunity to work for a company like Miller, right? So like, well, when they task you with the thing, you want to go above and beyond because you hope that'll open up the doors. But in general, you don't want to put out shoddy bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a great helmet. I was going to chime in on what you just said. Like as a relatively new welder, somebody that's very novice in that world, seeing is one of the biggest things for me. It's like I have a cheap ass Harbor Freight like auto darkening helmet, and when I go to Corey's house, I forget my welding helmet, and he's got that fucking like square, looks like it came out of like The Simpsons when he's holding the thing. Yeah. I'm like, dude, how do you do this? So he's like, well, I'm ready, and then I do the fucking head flip thing, and I'm just like, I stress out doing it.
Yeah.
So seeing is better for me, and I would spend $500 easily if I knew or if I felt like it would give me the ability to weld more consistently in a better, follow my line, things like that, because I'm just not used to welding. So it's not like
I literally said in like the voiceover of the video, I wonder if my welds will improve. And I could have said that a few different ways. And it's kind of a faux pas to blame your equipment as to why your welds, but fucking A, if you can see.
But if you can see, Because I mean, the idea is your TIG welding. All right, so this is, you want to do your pat, you want to do a, what do you call it? Like a dry pass or a fucking, just a practice pass or whatever,
right.
So you want to know that your hand motion can do the thing. But I'm still getting used to dabbing with, pulse or whatever the case may be. So like sometimes my hand motion that I practice, I didn't practice dabbing.
Yeah.
So now there's things going off. Now I'm off my line or whatever the case may be. But the other thing I wanted to chime in on, and I know that you and we talk about this passionately because I think we both come from maybe not opposite trains of thoughts in this idea of marketing. My thought process is the dead way, but you were talking about earlier. It's like, I think right now, because companies have had the opportunity to just put a product in someone's hand and get subsequently a viral video that probably sells more for their brand than the person that they like have been connected with on a legacy or a long-term thing, right? I'm trying to figure out how to right words to say. What I'm getting at is it like social media has opened up the door so brands can make a lot of money with like very little effort of putting something out. Like I give this person a helmet and then we just sold 500 of them because this dude made a great YouTube video, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you got one helmet, not a problem. It's like, hey, I'll do this to do that. But I miss the part of, especially in the trade side of things, where when you get your skills to a certain point, you got the opportunities to go be a part of a brand, not just like it's like guaranteed, but like you got to put yourself out there, right? You got to do the social media, you got to do all this, but you got to be good at it. And then it's like, oh, that's so-and-so. They're sponsored by House of Color. That makes sense. They're a great painter.
Yeah.
Or that person it rides for Harley Davidson. Those dudes build cool bikes or they ride or they do something, right? And to me, it's like a brand like should be fine. I'm trying to figure out how to word this so it doesn't like turn into a 2-hour back and forth conversation.
It's right. You're giving me time to think.
Yeah. I really wish that brands spent more time figuring out who they wanted to align themselves with and why. And then when they come to that person, they have some kind of direction as to what they want to do with that relationship, but are also open-minded to the person if they're willing, if they're interested in working with that brand as to how they can coexist together. And I say that to say that how many brands reach out to me to want to work with me that I'm open-minded to because I know about their products or their shit, and they have no fucking marketing idea of what they're trying to do, right? Yeah. It's like people had marketing people that worked in their brand, and then when social media came out for the last 10 years, they haven't had to have a marketing person. They could just give a product away, give a helmet away to this person, give it to this person, let them just shout you out on Instagram. It does the job for you. But now we're at a point now where I think that consumers are overseeing, or they're tired of seeing, hey guys, a lot of people have been asking me about what I use here and here. Like nobody believes you, right?
Yeah.
That it might be true, but it's like, it's just not the thing. So if a brand says, you know what, this year, 2026, we want to align ourselves. We like what Chris is doing, Devin's doing and Jace is doing, we want to work with them. We want to bring them together. We want to make them a part of our marketing strategy for this year, right? Let's get with them. Let's offer them something that helps them do what they do, which then in turn helps us give something to show the world.
Yeah.
It's instead of just view, I get what you mean. Instead of just eyeballs on social media, how do I get back to that brand ambassador that encompasses what the brand's ideals are, as opposed to just
that's it right there.
A set of eyes on a video and it's over.
That he said it right there. Brand ambassador. I think brand ambassador is gone.
I agree with you in the context that I know you're talking about. But I think we just talked about several different points.
Yeah.
And I have an answer for all of them, but I want to kind of build a case. So just let me run for a little bit. And let me preface by saying I am not a classically trained marketer. I've never held an official marketing position until RMFG. I'm the one-man marketing department.
Yeah.
But
you're a professional. You're getting paid to be a marketing guy.
All right. So let me tell you what I think I know.
Yeah.
First of all, you have to think of it from the business perspective, right? They're operating on dollars and cents. Mm-hmm. They have employees, personnel, department heads, all this other stuff. And in the classic business sense, if you cannot measure, you cannot manage. That's the name of the game of running a business. And so they've set up structures, KPIs, key performance indicators, and a way to measure all of this stuff. And they're, in a way, it can confine you to operating in that kind of way. I'm going to have to jump around here, so bear with me, and then we'll kind of pull it all around. When a large corporation or a brand, they are going to be looking at these KPIs and planning usually for the upcoming fiscal year. And so they have a budget for that. And their marketing team is like, well, I have to perform inside of these constraints. I have to plan. I have to show where I'm going to allocate this money. We have to be ready to go, and then we have to see it through, and then we'll measure again.
Yeah.
In the world of social media, it's in such flux and changing all the time. It's impossible to react to that. And it's impossible, not impossible, it's very difficult for a company to give an undetermined budget and the freewheeling nature, especially in the classical corporate structure, to just navigate all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. Because the algorithm changed in, the third week of Q2, so we got to rewrite Q2's plan and Q3's plan, et cetera. So they're going to be operating kind of this slow. Brand ambassador, I think, worked for a while. I'm going to jump to a new thing. Whereas, like, a lot of marketing for a long time was spray and pray kind of a way.
Yeah.
Like billboards. Everybody's going to drive by this and they're going to see Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola. McDonald's only sells Coca-Cola. Taco Bell sells Pepsi products.
Yeah.
And so you kind of know when it's baked in, and maybe that steers you one way or another. And they've had 50, 60 years to bake in their brand identity and posture and all this other stuff. Whereas a newer brand has to, first of all, establish themselves. Then an existing brand that has a new product, a new initiative, they have to figure that out too. And the latency is really, really slow. So it sounds like I'm advocating for the brands. I'm not. I'm just trying to understand their side so that people like us that are like on the influencer side, we're a third party, right? We're a contractor, so that they would be interested in working for us. So now I'm going to move to a new topic. Whenever they're working with somebody, they're contracting somebody, you're trying to solve a problem, right? You hire a deck contractor to build you a deck because you want a deck. If they're contracting you, it's because they feel that you can reach an audience or something like that. And they're going to be scanning so many people for who can solve this problem. And at the end of the day, like, let's just go straight on the nose. Harley Davidson is filled with motorcycle riders. The company is filled with people who really understand, live, breathe the brand. And they know, not just because of their 9 to 5 hours, but their whole life has been informed by what they've learned about motorcycling. And that's going to steer some things, but they're also going to have higher ups that constrain all of this stuff. And so I'm not saying that you contort yourself to be a shill so that you can get some Q2 budget and then move on. But it's important to know this kind of perspective that they have so that you can work inside of it. And I think the foundation of what you got to do is keep showing up the way that you keep showing up. And eventually it will show up. And this year, they gave you a fucking bagger. Like it gave you a $30-something thousand bike. And that's like your first brush with Harley Davidson corporate. So I think it's showing up. I can get also kind of frustrated when I have this great idea. I really want to do it. And then they're like, oh, sorry. It's not that they're like, you're not good enough. You're just not solving the problem that they need right then.
Yeah.
And then there's the smaller stuff, which is, I feel like just really coincidental. Like another sponsored post I have coming up is with anti-gravity batteries. I approached them because I need batteries, 2 of them, and 2 of them are like $500 for 2 different projects I have coming up. And I approached them. I was like, I have a rate. I've never had a rate. But I'm going to put the rate on the side. I just want the batteries is what I'll give to you. And I had to fucking chase them and hound them. And I learned that from David of Cafe Racer of Instagram fame.
Yeah.
It was like, if you just be persistent and omnipresent, they'll throw you a bone just because you're persistent and omnipresent, not just because you have 1 million followers. I've made the pitch and like shown all my numbers, and my numbers are, for my audience size, I have 44,000 followers on Instagram at the moment, and I have like 6 or 7 videos in the 3, 4, 5, 6, 700,000. I have a handful in the millions, and those are like, that's what I know I would be looking for. I'd be looking for somebody who's on the come up, that has good messaging. I'm talking about myself, so I'm a little bit biased, and is outperforming what they're doing. And I'm not going to expect to hitch my wagon to them forever. I'm going to go on a short ride distance with them, and I'm going to get an outsized value. So now I'm kind of flipping the tables a little bit. I agree with you, and we've had this discussion a lot, that these companies are not looking for that outlier, that outsized value. They are staying in the safe zone because they're employees themselves, where they can show, oh, this person has 1 million followers. So I know I'm all over the place, but I want to jump to the KPIs. This person has 1 million followers. That puts me in the safe space for a green light. But so I know the quantity, and now I have a KPI to measure against, but what's the quality of their influence? Are the people watching their stuff actually watching all the way through? Are they actually influenced? Are they going to go take actions from this? And I feel you have to go much deeper to actually see that. So, and in some ways, it's actually impossible. And this is the point that I know you're going to make, and I'm going to make it for you.
Okay.
You are not just an influencer. You've been around. You've built trust. You've built relationships. And so if somebody in a marketing department is pitching you, and, marketing boss is saying, yeah, but, we're looking for somebody more in the 1 to 200,000 follower range that has this kind of reach, blah, 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 and he doesn't meet those things. But that shows nothing of quality, especially when it's offline. The influence that can be delivered offline is far more valuable than online. And that is impossible to measure. And so I feel for these marketers who really go out of their way or really know their shit and be like, I'm willing to bet the house on this. And then they can't because
yeah,
policies, or the companies that are just fucking, they're spraying and praying, not hitting one target because they just don't know better.
So I want to say this one thing because it's fresh on my mind. Because you said that, like, and I understand the bit, like the company side of this, like they're looking for the best optimization of their resources, you know, their time, you know, there's somebody that's working that job to do all this stuff for the individual, for you. So here's the deal. Like, maybe I'll paint this picture for you. You got this deal with Miller. You do a good job, right? But Miller starts sleeping on you. You know, you fucking sold a lot of those helmets because you saw their posts, you saw what it did just on the outside, not even seeing their analytics. You saw what happened, right? But they don't follow up. Now, how do you justify, all right, so now fucking Harbor Freight hits you up. Hey, man, we saw what you did with Miller. We love it. We're willing to pay you now. So now it's like, okay, now I'm in a business because I'm in a business of marketing and influencing, right? Which, to be clear, I'm not in that business. Yeah. I'm in the business of doing podcasts. I'm in the business of riding bikes, and I'm in the business of painting them and customizing them and going to show the people in the world what happens when you do these things and the experiences. So when I get with the helmet brand, you know, I don't want to leave. I don't want to tell everybody, buy this helmet, and then next month, because they changed their marketing strategy, now I have to find a new helmet brand.
Yeah.
Because then what that does is it deteriorates the trust that
their brand
social
and your
media,
brand.
And you do that, compound that by everybody in social media, everybody that's an influencer, every podcast, every YouTuber, and now nobody trusts that whole platform for marketing because it's all like this. So there's like this, I'm thinking like maybe out like bigger than the smaller picture of this, but as a brand, you know, I think brands, instead of like a campaign, like we're gonna do this campaign with so and so for, you know, Q1, and I'm like, well, bro, you're a 1 year kind of company. Stop talking in Qs.
Yeah,
like you ain't got that kind of money to be acting like that, right? Figure out who you want to work with, get a plan together, and do some shit, and then give the person you're working with time to allow their audience to trust that that's a real fucking connection to the product. It takes time, and you're not going to get your money back right there, but you're planting a garden, and that garden that you're planting is going to pay the dividends. If you're selling something sub $150, then I get it. You need to sell fucking tens of thousands of those to justify the thing.
But legacy brands. So I agree with you on a couple points. I think that a long-term...
Sorry I talk so fast on that. I wasn't trying to.
A long-term partnership should be cherished on both sides and be reciprocal. I disagree that like, oh, I went out and sold all these helmets and therefore you owe it to me to do XYZ, retain me for this amount of time or give me a kickback. At the end of the day, if it's in the contract, it's in the contract. If you were contracted to do some stuff for some time and you sold an outsized amount of helmets, you don't have a and so understanding the other side, which in this context is the brand, I think you have to readjust your focus. Not you, but like
to be fair, that's what I'm having to do now, which is kind of, it's counterintuitive because of the way that I feel like the relationship I want to have with the brands that are sponsors.
And where you've ended up is you've hung it out there for a brand and it ended one day.
Yeah.
And that sucks, not just from the income that you were used to from them, which is fair.
Yeah.
Anybody who has a disruption in income in their life, like they're going to feel that. I think that's totally fair. But also like you kind of went to bat for them. And it sucks, but it's always going to be the case.
To be fair, yes, that is probably the thing that like it was I've worked with a lot of brands that I'm still very close with through this podcast in the 8 years we've been doing this. That one brand was the one brand that we were so ingrained together that I think for their end breaking up with me was harder I don't think they did it well, but at the same time, like it's a strange place because like for instance, like Arlen Ness, they've been supporting me for 4 years now. Bro, if they said, hey, we want to try something out next year, I can't be mad. Those dudes have been 100% standing behind this podcast and helping me keep it alive.
Yeah.
And they gave me 4 years of support, and I am beyond grateful for that.
Yeah.
Right? And I still love their product, so I'll still be running their shit when if they decide to go another direction. Thundermax, again, a great company I've been working with for many years. When I get done with the Road Glide, it's running their computer on it, right? Like, they're not a sponsor of mine, but when I got another fuel injected bike, hey,
yeah,
you're the guy I fuck with. I'm not going to another brand right now.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think one thing we can agree on, and I think it's the theme here, is that the reason brands go with influencers short, medium, and long term is because they're getting a value out of it.
Yeah.
And
would it be
for the influencers that do it well, they're not just like, oh yeah, I'll post it, here's my rate, see you later. The people that go above and beyond, and especially when they're like super small and they've created a space, I think it would be nice that a brand treats them more as a human than like a contract.
How's your numbers look this month?
I got to give a little bit of a hot take. Something you said earlier, I kind of agree with when it comes to the influencer model. I think they're still spraying and praying in their in their idea. It's, if I can put my product in front of this many eyeballs, we'll spread it around. We're gonna give it to enough people that maybe we can put it in enough eyes, we can make some sales out of it. And I think Jace's mentality is, instead of doing that, put your eggs in a basket that believes in you, that you actually you are more likely to get a return on investment from.
Yeah.
Somebody that actually believes in your product, somebody that will actually have a response, rather than, if I just give it to 20 quote unquote influencers, we might get some return because it's going to be in front of a bunch of eyes. Because to me, that's just the digital billboard. You're just putting a digital billboard up instead of actually.
What he's saying is fair, and to elaborate on that, like, all I'm getting at is that if you're not, the model of being on YouTube or podcasts or whatever, TikTok, whatever, and getting sponsorships and getting paid or getting product. If you're changing the products every month and you're not like a reviewer of products, meaning that hey, I'm not beholden to any brand. I'm not a Simpson guy, a Kabuto guy, a fucking Bell guy. I'm just a guy that somebody gives me a helmet and I tell you what I think. And if you're not that kind of guy, which there's not as many of those in the motorcycle industry as people think. Like, the camera world is way different, right?
Well, I'll give respect to people. Like, camera world is a great example.
Yeah.
I have this new camera. You already know what I like and what I don't like. Here's what I like and don't like about this camera. On to the next camera.
Yeah.
You're comparing apples to apples. You're just, you're like not a judge, but like you're a person in the jury. This is how I ended up on this one. I think that's totally fair. The people that are going to wear your colors on their back, I think, are soldiers for you in a way. Back to the spray and pray. First of all, there is a strategy. If you look at a sales funnel, a marketing funnel, top of the funnel is brand awareness. And you have to have brand awareness. Middle of the funnel, consideration. Remind people that you're there. That's even before consideration. Consideration are people, that's more of the sales funnel. Like, I'm considering this. Should I go with M&Ms or Skittles, right? And then for legacy brands, like, literally M&Ms and Skittles are on NASCAR cars. Mm-hmm. So you need to have a billboard that way. But an important thing to know is that this strategy, the fundamentals of it, are different for every single product in every different space. Are we talking about candy, where I'm just reminding, like, oh damn, I think I want some Skittles?
Yeah.
Or like, I'm buying a helmet. There's 100 helmet brands. Which helmet am I going to get? Am I going to get for style, for comfort, for price? Those are all relevant things, and those companies are going to market to their core buyer.
Yeah.
Right. And that's just the nature of running a business. So I'm sympathetic to it. I'm just trying to like hash out all the details so everybody's kind of on the same page. For the brand, like I think any company is going to want to work with a trusted partner. And if you have a trusted partner, don't like double cross them.
Yeah.
That's not cool. And from the influencer side, like work with good partners, and maybe it's not,
don't answer all those emails. Viking bags is not worth it.
I'm literally about to do 3 sponsored posts. It's a one and done deal, but it's brands that I like, and they're my first 3, and they're about to come out like in 1 month, which is funny to think that I've ended up here. But I've actually said no. I've counted 11 people that have approached me.
Yeah.
And I hadn't even had one yet. I was like, nah. That's not to pat myself on the back. It's just, I think that's important for anybody to do.
Yeah.
If you don't believe in it, don't start, it's like, I don't know.
Like as soon as you have a YouTube channel, as soon as you, especially, a podcast and there's an email link to it, you get hit up by every fucking Pakistani leather maker, every Chinese billet. We can give you Arlen Ness, but it's Fast Life Ness. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like everything under the sun, and it's really hard to sift through it. Like I delete 99% of it, and rarely do you like in American companies, not American made, but American companies, like you get the Viking bag post, you get the First Manufacturing collab post. And I'm like, who the fuck is running your marketing? Like sometimes when I get those emails, I'm like, does this fucking work?
Yeah.
Does this work? Like you're literally the like dude at the bar just asking every girl for a number.
Yeah.
You're not even considering like, I want that number and that number. No, I want any girl with a vagina's number right now. That's it. Maybe even if they don't have a vagina, we'll deal with that later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a crowd for that. There's a crowd that likes
and so you're just like, you have no strategy. And I think that's what like has brought this whole like conversation upon, is it like, you're a brand. What is your brand identity? Who are you? What are you about? And if you know who the fuck you're about, then you should be able to align yourself with people because you are paying attention to the consumer market of where you want your shit to be, to where you can go, you know what? That person is somebody I want to work with. I want to grow together with that person.
Yeah.
Right? And you build loyalty. Yeah. Maybe you should have a contract so it's like, well, that dude built me up and then I kicked him to the curb and got the next best influencer out there, right? That's the it's just business shit that I fucking hate saying or hate hearing, but I understand it. The thing is that like with this social world is that you can't build an audience if the only way you can make money is through taking these opportunities, and then every month it's a different helmet brand. Rurock, the helmet, you remember that brand? They pushed it to every YouTuber. Some of them got paid, some of them got helmets. The amount of shit people do for fucking nothing, the cool.
I advise against that.
Associated,
and people
have
advised me against that, and here I have the only 2 sponsorship. I did it for free.
Miller, 100%. There's certain brands you do it for free. Like, if Harley asked me to do something, like I would do it.
I mean, to be fair, the video I made for Miller is 22 seconds, and I shot it one night after work.
And it cost you $600.
And it cost me $670.
No, I'm going to push back on that because I know that the amount of stress and thought.
If Miller's watching, I really hope that they watch, because I'm actually going to let them know. Like, I'm going to bring my numbers. Like, you actually got a few extras because I talked about you on a podcast in front of your target audience.
All 40 people heard it.
If they're watching now, I actually have a plan to come back at Miller. And again, problem to solve that I have identified on their end, and a problem to solve on my end, actually. And I have a pitch for them. I'm not going to reveal what it is, but I'm going to wait for this to go out. And if it does pretty well, and so far the interactions with, I looked her up on LinkedIn. She's like, I think she graduated college in like 22. So she's young, but dude, social media, she's got, and she probably studied it and all this other stuff. But she's working for a big company now and all this other stuff. What's the second point I was going to make? Fuck. Anyway, I was like, yeah, I'll do this on the chin, but I actually have an ulterior motive. I'm going to come back with a pitch for them that I know is a pain point of theirs and something to solve on my side.
Yeah.
And I said I was going to wait until the numbers come back. I was going to add all these little ancillary sprinkles on top, such as mentioning it on this podcast, the direct marketing pitch, which I fucking believe in, by the way.
Appreciate
it. I'm not just saying this shit.
You wouldn't have left your job set in traffic to come here to do this podcast if you didn't believe in it some kind of way.
No. We haven't even talked about RMFG.
That's next.
Go to fucking town on that.
Yeah.
I got to take a leak first.
I
think that's ultimately the thing. Like,
we got to wrap up this social media talk real quick. So say your final piece on it, because we like AI. We got to end this, so we'll do it all fucking night.
Yeah.
You guys, you're ending this at the social media talk at 2 hours.
Yeah.
This is an interesting conversation.
We don't speak for less than 3 hours ever.
Right.
100%.
Anyway, like,
we can talk about it more when we get back.
I've already said we don't have to rehash.
We get another drink.
I had to keep my corporate hat back on. We were just talking about. This conversation is really interesting because you do have a bunch of valid points, and I agree with you. And it's just working with Jason, having him understand how he can pitch to a company what kind of ROI and how he can provide these metrics that's tangible for them to understand, because he creates a lot of value through in-person, at events, the traveling, the YouTube, the podcast. How do you quantify that to them so they can understand and be able to have a metrics that they can track to show where that value
I think it's critical to at least try. Yeah. And I think that there's as much value in building the trust with a partner.
Sure.
And showing that you're actively trying to measure and help them manage, as opposed to like, you paid me, I made the post, I don't care how it does. And if you're doing that in an ongoing way, then I think that they're going to see they're going to see you more as a partner, as somebody who's actually trying. And so, even if the metrics aren't exemplary, I think that the value actually continues to extend just because you're trying to measure and show. And ultimately, not even the person who knows, like, hey, I made this post and then it got this many views and somebody commented, I bought one, and that kind of matched the value of what they paid me to even talk about it in the first place. You can't measure the people that bought one and didn't comment. You can't even measure the people that you had a conversation with at the bar and that bought one, because you can't just like, oh yeah, that podcast, I talked to my friends at the bar and 3 of them bought one.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say,
doesn't count.
From what I do at work, one of the things that we do, because we have dedicated contracts, right, with our customers. One of the things that we do that's proprietary for us in that business is we do CVD, which is customer value delivered, and then we track it through VDAs, which is value delivery added. Mm-hmm. So there are things you can do that maybe don't have a quantified cost associated with it or savings. But if you track that and you create those metrics, that's how you can help with that KPI, right? So for an example, I work in the transportation industry. If I can, not everything is going to be, okay, I backhauled this, I saved you this revenue. But if you don't have something in your warehouse, right? You have an operational issue, and I can step in and I can save that. It may not have a dollar figure, but that has created a value that in turn kept your operation running smoothly. Yeah. So there is a quantified.
Well, I think any good business manager is going to know that value saved is as good as value earned.
Exactly.
100%.
So I think for Jay,
lost opportunity in many ways costs more than the opportunity you gain.
And I think if Jays can find a way to articulate that through value delivery. So like, if he has a deal or is working with a brand, right, as a trusted source, right? Yes, you're not going to have a use my discount code so you can track this metrics, because that's the only reason why they do those discount codes, is because that's how they can track with their KPI. How many actually do we sell? Right. But instead, if he creates this metric that's like, hey, on top of what you gave me and the views we got in this, I also attend these events. And this is what I do, and this is the influence and reach I have. If he can find ways to better articulate that, I think that could help.
Hey, motherfucker, this is what I do.
Right? Because you're right. The marketing person, they don't understand how many miles and how many people he's interacting. They're just looking at metrics. Well, they're not looking at the fact
that's why I was bringing up the whole concept is like, look, what does that person do? What do they stand for? Do you want to align yourself with that brand? And what does that say about your brand? Right?
Yeah.
We were just in an era where like brands were like, they would be changing their entire fucking like shit this month for, you know, a certain demographic of people, right? Mm-hmm. That was them telling the world what their brand is about.
Yeah.
So when you align yourself with people, like why not, you know, I want to work with said person. I could think of 100, dude, you're a great dude to work with. Like different styles. Like if I was working in a brand, I would have a more, you know, it's kind of a weird kind of like dream of mine to want to be in the marketing department of a brand to try out these ideas. You're getting to live it at this point, but like, I want to see what it would be like to take the idea of what this company is and find the people I want to align with and build together, as opposed to I'm going to do this or pay you and you do that, as opposed to like the same way that your job right now is building with you.
Yeah.
They hired you to do a job, but they're growing with you, each other. And when you grow with somebody, you don't look at like, oh, well, shit, we had a good month last month. I need more money now because my loyalty is to the growth of this partnership. Yeah. Right. And when you have a relationship with a individual, I hate the word influencer, but just somebody that you partnered with.
Yeah.
There's like something tangible there. Like, hey, I'm fucking with you for a year. Let's build some shit.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, you know, we agreed on a price. I want you to make $1 million.
Yeah.
You know, because then next year, you're gonna be like, you know, we did a fucking great time. I want to do that again.
Well, I think people like you and I, we're builders, not just in the sense of like building bikes or building something. It's like, all right, here's an idea. How do we reach it? Here's all the things we're gonna do, and then we reach there together. And if somebody jumps off at the finish line, like, see you later.
Yeah.
Then.
Essentially, sucks, like I think the thing that drives me, and I don't know how you would end it, but I had the CEO of Simpson Motorcycle Helmets tell me before they got bought out by Holley, tell me that he goes, I appreciate everything you did for this brand, and you have been an asset to it for the last, you know, since we've been a part of it. And then 2 years later to get kicked out, basically because they want to like align themselves with whoever has, you know, they want whoever has the best numbers. Right.
Yeah.
Remember when Top 9 was the thing on Instagram? Or
yeah. You know? Top 9 posts, right?
From 2017 till 2024-3.
Yeah.
Every year, our images, our posts.
When you say our, you mean yours?
Mine. Were in Simpsons Top 9. Yeah. The majority of them.
Yeah.
You know, but then of course, one of my friends leave. The new people didn't want to play the game. And then, of course, it goes away, right? So that happens. But then when you build with the company and then they just decide to, hey, you know what? We appreciate that you got us off the ground, but now we're going to just jump on board with some other people who are, air quotes, bigger than you. What does that say about your company as far as like, because you want loyalty of your customer base, but you're not showing loyalty of your own.
I feel for you, Jace. You know I'm on your side.
I'm still mad, dude. I'm just playing. Nah.
You know I'm on your side on this.
Yeah.
But and first of all, these things happen. Seasons change.
It's just business,
right?
Yeah.
No,
I know.
It's a cop-out statement, but at the end of the day, the business is going to make the business decisions, and if they are truly, in fact, run by people who don't know better, then it's going to reflect. And maybe they play prodigal son and they come back. or maybe the business goes into the ground, or maybe it's just not the cool helmet anymore. The world has moved on. And maybe you're a part of that too.
Yeah. No, that's kind of what it is. I just think that like the moved on part, like I'm beyond that. Like I'm happy where I'm at now. Like Scott, Kabuto, the things we're doing, I'm fucking really excited.
They're comfortable. You let me put one on my head, and it's
the thing is, it's like it's closure of like something that was such a big part of my life for the last 10 years almost.
Yeah.
And to not have a real closure, have a real
well, I think you said it well. It's like an old girlfriend that you're never going to forget. And, you know, I think that says
then
something
she starts
good.
fucking everybody in the motorcycle industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that.
Yeah. One of those.
You're with your new hot girlfriend, but the ex-wife that broke your heart keeps walking in and you just cuts you deep every time.
Yeah. It's just
everybody gets one. Everybody gets one. That's all right.
Well, I mean, kind of moving this forward, because like I said, we'll do this all day. And I appreciate though, like I like talking to you about this stuff because I like your perspective. It's for me, like I think it's important, and I appreciate this friendship that we have, because when we do have these kind of conversations, you're not necessarily like, you're right, Jace, you're right. Like you have such great insight to things that need to be thought about, especially.
I try and play devil's advocate against myself or against anybody, and I try not to veer too hard into contrarianism. And I can be a little bit of a contrarian sometimes. I try not to do that, but like even in this conversation, like, you know, that you and I agree or aligned, not on every single point, but like, you know, if we're going to break this down, I want to understand the other side.
Yeah.
And I'm even having these conversations. I had a great conversation. Shout out Mark Boucher, BMW Motor Rad, just talking it up. Sunday after the One Moto show. He's an old friend. I've known him for a while. And I was asking him questions, and he was really just reaffirming stuff that I already know. And I'm like, oh, yeah, right. Why didn't I have that front and center in my mind when we're talking about this or that? And so I think it's important to see anything. If you're trying to solve a problem, right? You're trying to solve for X. You don't look at X. You look at all the other fucking, you know, letters and numbers going on. Understand those, and then you'll eventually arrive at X.
To be fair, like the problem I'm bringing up might sound like I'm just talking about it from my perspective, but I'm talking about it from the perspective of the entire, let's just say, Harley Davidson motorcycle industry, where this model creates more and more distance between brands and the culture.
Yeah.
It benefits brands, I guess, but it separates or severs the ties between the people that are making videos, podcasts, photography, whatever is monetizable through influencing, air quotes. This model severs the ties of authenticity.
Well, let's
times 10.
Let's go with that theme, but break off in a new direction.
Okay.
I love all kinds of motorcycles. I call myself a non-denominational motorcyclist. It's a pretty fucking gay term, right? No. I love Harley Davidsons, and you give me a lot of shit for this. I don't really fuck with Harley Davidson too much. Not as a motorcycle. I've owned one. Yeah. I bought a brand new one. Thank you, HDFS.
Financial services.
Yeah.
What's
And
crazy is like,
no, I love the brand because it's like, how do you not like Coca-Cola, right? I love the motorcycles themselves, and I like all the culture behind it. But one of the turnoffs for me, genuinely, is this kind of echo chamber situation that they have going on. Mm-hmm. And to your point, when there's like brand pushes and this and herd mentality and all this other stuff, it just kind of turns me off. Now, if it was a little bit more simple and pure and steadfast in the players, the movers, the shakers, the things that are done, I think it would be a lot more appealing. And so I'm just trying to take a different kind of viewpoint on what you're saying. If there was less of this kind of like, well, I did this, you did that, tumultuous stuff, it might be a little bit more.
Well, you said it best a while ago. You said echo chamber. Like, for lack of a better term, I know echo chamber is usually
a political.
But it's also used in like a derogatory thing.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be mean, but
but I mean, just in general, like it's used in that condensation, right? So, the thing is that like I think that I'm good with that. Like I'm happy being in this echo chamber of Harley Davidson because that's a world that like
you're fighting the good fight.
Well, I just like it. Like remove the podcast, I hate the word influencer side of this out of it. I still want to ride these bikes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I couldn't enjoy these other motorcycles that exist. It's never been about that. But like my involvement in motorcycles is so deep and so like you step in my house. Like you walk in my house, there's fucking bikes everywhere. There's pictures, there's this. There's no fucking Indians on the wall. Yeah. There's no Yamahas up there. Like my life for the last 20 years has been Harley Davidson motorcycles. And it's not from a lack of trying to go anywhere else. It's just like I haven't felt I needed to.
Yeah. Well, I don't think anybody can knock that. If there's something you like.
But I mean, I like Porsches. I mean, I can't afford that yet. And if I get to a point in my life where I can have a Porsche, I'll probably have a Porsche on the wall somewhere,
Well, it's funny you say that because Porsches for the past 10 years have been in vogue, right? And we can see it. There's a KPI right there. The value has skyrocketed in everything that has.
And because they've been in vogue is what has made it appealing to me.
But here's the thing you can't knock Harley Davidson for. And they have... you can say everything about Harley Davidson, the good, the bad, the ugly, but they've been a constant presence as a brand, as a bike, as an experience, as a culture. You can't knock that.
And if they start doing some weird shit at the top, it doesn't affect what's going on the ground.
You can't buy that. You can't make it. You literally can't even make it. It just somehow happened.
Yeah.
And that I think that's awesome. And I understand why people get attached to that. I mean, I have my own attachments. Like, why don't they just figure that fucking out? They're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
I do that. I do that too.
Yeah. Maybe for instance, like as I do like a lot of bikes. There are bikes I see that I like. The whole cafe racer realm, I see that, especially knowing Colt, like seeing the bikes he built, Colt Wrangler. Like I see like the fabrication side of that, where like what he does, and like I see how
Colt's an interesting case. I love Colt because he's able to pull so many different elements into one bike and do it. And there's a handful of people that are able to do that.
But that's the thing is that cafe racers in general are adjacent to the fabrication side of what Harley Davidson is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So like the way you can customize and the way a cafe racer is kind of like this stripped down version of whatever the original bike was with this aesthetic is the chopper of that world, right?
Yeah.
And there's something about it where like I draw a lot of inspiration from that world. Yeah. I do. I love the bikes he's built. I genuinely like the things that I see that come through cafe racers of Instagram when I see that.
David's got some taste.
Exactly.
For sure he does.
I like all that stuff. I'm influenced by so many different cultures outside of Harley. But as like kind of like, all right, in the house, in the home, we need to make sure our shit's good and not get fucked up because this culture of Harley, the reason it's on my fucking neck is a loyalty thing. And loyalty is what I'm essentially talking about with marketing and branding right now.
Yeah.
Is when you have no loyalty, you have something that doesn't mean anything to anybody. And when you start playing this game of like, I'm for hire, I'm for this, or I'm for that, then the loyalty that I have for Harley has nothing to do with the fact that they gave me a Harley.
Yeah.
And first off, they didn't give it to me. I've already blown 4 fucking dudes. No.
The circle jerks have been real.
Dude, I got calluses. They're not even from fucking sanding. I'm just playing. there's a job attached to it. It's not like I woke up one day and there's a Harley sitting in my garage.
Yeah.
You actually helped me with that video. I had to make a video. I had to do that.
I think you got to make more than one. I barely even helped.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm trying, dude. The thing is,
Nothing
I love
free.
this
It's
brand.
just a reminder, nothing is free.
Yeah, none of this shit's free, dude. You know, all the homies that reached out jokingly, that I should have just jokingly responded. Like, I felt like hey, man, you know, you got a free bike. That's cool. Now it's more expensive for us. Like, nah, dude, like, first off, like, go do what the fuck I've been doing for the last 10 years, motherfucker. Yeah. Like, all right, arrogant me here. Do what the fuck I've been doing. And when I think about what I've been doing, and I look at like Von Gasfalt right now, I'm like, fuck, I'm not even touching this dude right now.
Yeah.
He's grinding, writing, photographing, making sick stuff. I'm like, it's so hard to do all this stuff. I wish it was just because, I
think ultimately what you're trying to communicate is something that all three of us in this room know, is that you actually care and you actually hang yourself out to dry to do it. And it feels unrecognized. And it's not that people do it for recognition, but recognition does count.
Dude, everybody
it would count from a brand, and it would count from the people that follow. But I have to feel, you know, I operate as a pessimist, but I am a natural optimist. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the people who, what's the saying? The people who know don't care, and the people who don't know.
People don't know.
Matter, care, whatever. I feel like George. I feel like George Bush right now. Yeah. Point is, you don't get fooled again.
Right. That's probably a good segue. Like, so I remember last time we talked, you had just started doing, like, you had just come onto your company doing the social media stuff, and like, how has your response been with that?
Yeah. So, okay, we're talking about RMFG. For anybody watching, I hate to mention a competitor, but we're kind of at that stage. If anybody knows Send Cut Send, we're kind of like Send Cut Send. You're like, okay, yeah, me too. We're gonna do this too. We're a little bit different in that case, but I want to talk to like the crux of the thing. And it's a bunch of things. It's not just one central thing, for me at least. First of all, I like to build stuff. I like to use the latest tools, a la AI. I like to increase my ability to make stuff. So RMFG is we're what we call a digital sheet metal shop. We're actually adding a tubing laser literally next week. So we're going to be adding a tubing capability. But unlike Send Cut Send, where you can upload a file and have a piece of sheet metal cut out, bent, tapped, countersink, hardware insert, even powder coat, and then you could like bolt it all together. We'll actually fixture, weld, and finish a whole part for you. So, you know, we're focused right now. A lot of our business is kind of B2B business, but everybody goes through the same portal. You go to rmfg.com, you upload your step file, you get an instant quote, you check out like Amazon, and it gets shipped to you. Similar to Send Cut Send. They've kind of added to their stack of services with CNC machining, which is fantastic. And I still use Send Cut Send. I was a huge disciple of theirs. And then I learned about RMFG, new company, same kind of thing, slightly different strategy. They're in Fort Worth. I live in Fort Worth. Always nice to support local. And then also, like, I'll save the 3 days in shipping and just get my parts sooner. So I would go pick it up. Got to know the guys, and I was a customer of theirs for like a year before I started working there. And really liked the mission. The founder, Kenneth, he is super, super smart guy. He's got like Silicon Valley chops, but he grew up blue collar, Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Really kind of best of both worlds in a human being.
Fusion.
Yeah, really. And started this company, got some pretty solid investment, nothing major, but enough to get started.
Yeah.
And I think they started in July of 2024, so we're coming up on 2 years now.
Yeah.
And I met them in January, just when I opened up my garage, bought the house, set up the garage, literally learned about them from an Instagram post. And I think he was boosting it a little bit, not like proper ads or anything, but like just boosting the post. Learned about it, and he was talking about like the software and what he's building. I was like, but that's the laser welder in the background. And then I was like, somehow I could sense it. I could like sense it was close. And then I went to the page, learned there in Fort Worth. I'm like, what the fuck? This is super cool. So I went in, got to know them, started ordering my simple, I don't even have a bandsaw anymore. Fuck that. Just have it, send it out. I don't have to lift a finger. It costs the same amount. Like if I go to sheet metal supermarkets and buy, a 1 by 1 foot square and then cut it out on a bandsaw, the amount of money I spent on the material that I'm going to scrap is the same amount of material that I'm going to get in the finished part, and it's laser straight. So I don't even do that anymore. I haven't done that for years because of services like Send Cut Send, now RMFG. And they're just a bunch of young guys. Like Kenneth is like 32 years old, and they have a bunch of like 20-somethings working this equipment. And what I learned was that he's a coder, and he writes all the code to make the shop floor run efficiently, but also to be able to unpack these, not super complicated, but at the end of the day, you have to have skills to achieve the bends in the bending department, like with a press brake, to bend the metal. And the software does it also. He can hire somebody who basically has zero experience. They have the aptitude, but they have zero experience. And in somewhere between 1 and 6 weeks can be fully trained on this equipment. And that is their unique value proposition that gives them velocity to enter the space of making metal.
To be in the world, in the competition world of what Send Cut Send already offers. And isn't there some other companies out there that have that kind of
There are.
ethos?
And I actually didn't even really know about them. I knew about another one, OSH Cut, OSH Cut. Mm-hmm. And FabWorks I learned about. There's a few others. And the interesting thing, and this is going to segue into another important point that I really believe in, and I think that everybody watching will believe in, is that sheet metal parts, making stuff in this country was ubiquitous at a time. And now we've just kind of accepted that it's just not done here anymore.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of very valid reasons for more than just like chest beating that we need to do that stuff here. Mm-hmm. And we've lost a lot of that tribal knowledge. Well, here's a KPI for you, talking about KPIs. It's like a 70-something billion dollar a year industry, which compared to SaaS or software or whatever, isn't anything. But that's today. 70-something, I think a $75 billion industry today that comprises all sheet metal shops in the country. It's like 75. 75% of those $75 billion total shops are owned by somebody who is, it's not 75, it's 65 years or older. They can't even sell their shop to somebody who's going to keep. So there's this massive pie. And now with the effort after COVID, after tariffs, after the wanting to reshore, for all of these kind of geopolitical positions, and it's not even a political statement, there's more demand to make basic metal stuff in this country, amongst other things. The supply is shrinking, and there's a few people, and Send Cut Send is doing a fantastic job. They've been around for like 8-9 years now. People are still now only becoming hip to the services that they can provide to them. And people have literally started companies building products with them as their dedicated supplier. And this is a drop in the bucket, but this is how we start building stuff in this country again. Mm-hmm. And I'm, a proud American, but I'm not like a chest thumping American, but this is something that
you're not a Toby Keith American?
This is something that we need to do. And so even just as a garage builder using this service, but I've also started a company that we covered in my last podcast where designed a great product, a great brand, and we went overseas to China out of just necessity.
Yeah.
That was the name of the game. And that's fine. Like, if that's how it has to go, you can't build an iPhone in the United States. It's literally impossible.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of anecdotes as to why if you want to find out. But this stuff we can do. And so I'm really excited to be a part of this company. And now we can start talking about marketing again because I got hired as, my official title was head of content. And this is, and I want to scratch your back on this one because Kenneth, you know, he's like on the cusp of millennial and Gen Z. He's like super young millennial. And you and I are like older millennial.
Yeah,
you're like
elder
right at the
millennials.
edge. I'm like at the bottom of elder millennial.
I'm the first year millennial.
But he was like, what year are you?
82.
Yeah. 81, 82. And then like, I think 86 is the end, but I was January 87. So I'm like basically right there.
Yeah. You were conceived before. I mean, you were made.
Right.
You're still cooking.
Were there.
He was swimming. He just.
But anyway, I've been talking to him, and it was a place I really wanted to go work for the mission.
I remember
and I was unemployed. I was like, I fucking do anything. And I've been, beating everybody's door down about like, hey, you're cutting metal out. Just send it here.
Yeah. Before you got the job.
Before I got the job.
Because I know for a fact, like on my chopper, so Corey.
This goes back to word of mouth of what we're talking about.
Exactly, right? So Corey from Main Drive, I'm running his tranny mid control setup, and he didn't have a brake stay, a brake master cylinder stay, just in stock. But he gave me the step file and said, "Hey, just order this," and I ordered it for RMFG.
Yeah,
and literally, like not even trying to sell this thing, but like because this is the only time I've ever used this service, and I don't know how to make a step file. I don't know.
Yeah.
You and I have been talking about you wanting to show me how to do that stuff, and it's a skill that I really want to learn because I've already needed it like 20 fucking times on this last build. But literally, I ordered this one item, and it was like in my garage 2 days later.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So like, and this is before you even worked there.
Yeah,
and to me, I get the thing, and so I could see it as a bike builder out there that's like has an idea for a product and you want to like kind of streamline something, but you don't want to have to be like coerced into having 500 order to make it profitable, 500 item order.
Yeah, so you can order one of anything, and so what we call that in the industry is high mix, which means we're not a dedicated supplier. We're like, you have to order a minimum order quantity of 1,000, and we can be your supplier up to a threshold of 10,000. You could order 1 or 1,000, and our real sweet spot in terms of pricing and speed and all this other stuff is between an MOQ of 10. It's not an MOQ, a quantity of 10 and 100. That's like our real sweet spot.
Yeah.
So that's great for somebody who's building a short run of things, people who are prototyping, people who are then trying to get from prototyping to the first bit of scale and then want to reassess from there.
Yeah. But also, like, I like the idea.
But also the speed, and we have to be cost competitive, because if people are going to say, I just can't afford that, I have to go to China and, talk on WhatsApp at 3 a.m. and wait 3 months. I have to do that because of the price. And the main way that we're able to do that is with volume and with the software.
You know what's kind of weird is that nowadays in the motorcycle world, something being made not out of billet feels cooler.
I think there could be a couple factors for that. I think, first of all, is probably the soup du jour. It's what people are interested in today. It's the aesthetic, the vibe that everything's going on. But I think inside of the context of the conversation we're having is that it's more attainable. And the ironic thing is that billet is a one-off billet piece is just as attainable. All you need is a step file. Mm-hmm. It costs more. So if you're making stuff out of sheet metal, I mean, like Corey's parts, we don't have an NDA, Corey, so I can say this if I want to, but I'm sure you'll understand. He's crafted his own mid sets. It requires some round bar that needs to be bent. We don't currently do that. He gets that somewhere else, but everything else is sheet metal. And we can cut that out, bend it, and have it to him in like 2 or 3 days. He's also, like lives 50 miles from, he lives here. So like the shipping is really short. But if you wanted to pick it up,
he could pick it up. Yeah,
he could pick it up super fast, and that's what I was doing. And then he can take that and then weld it all up. RMFG actually takes it a step further, where we will actually weld it up and deliver it to you to the same spec as you would build at home. Mm-hmm. I hope. I know we would.
Yeah.
We also do a lot of remakes. This is part of our speed that we're trying to build up. We've really been in business for like with our full stack of services and our current workflow for really just a couple of months.
Well, this is the concept of like building a business like this to like get the ground floor like figured out.
Yeah.
And then
in startups they talk about your burn rate, which is basically how much money you're spending versus how much money you're earning. And you have to, come up to plane above that quickly. Mm-hmm. And we're probably not making any money right now. It's part of the learning phase. This is well accepted in software, right? Because like usually you're paying a very little bit for software, but your engineers cost, $250,000 a year, and you got to have an army of them, right? So I think our velocity is really exciting right now. We're getting into the thick of it. We're kind of behind right now. Like when I left work today, we had 25 late shipped orders. I think that'll come down to like 18 tomorrow, but we actually need to be picking up velocity. So, now I'm just like talking to you as a friend. I've been saying for 2 weeks now that I have 3.7 jobs at work. And that's what I really like being after zoos, starting my own company to start up. Your neck is on the line. I love the team mentality, the mission. We got to do this and put in the extra hours, put in the extra work. And in the long run, if it works, it's going to work out nice for you. So I like that carrot and the pressure. The tension, like you were talking about, I like my own kind of tension as well. Yeah. But let's, I could go on and on about this stuff, but let's go back to the marketing if this is the theme. One of the themes of this conversation. So Kenneth had the wherewithal. He's like, I'm going to spend money and, I'm not making tons of money, but I'm paid. I'm very happy. We're going to have a dedicated marketing guy. My title is head of content, right? We haven't changed the title now that
I feel like I wouldn't want content. Content's.
I didn't like it either, but anyway, I want to go down that thing. But it's irrelevant. The job and the work, and I knew I was like, all right, I'm not going to just be like a guy that makes videos. I know that I'm going to go in and I'm going to tackle this thing and this thing and this thing, and I'm going to deliver. I want to be a revenue source for this company, not something hanging on the balance sheet because, this is our semblance of a marketing team. But we're this new company. How do we differentiate the brand, the service versus other existing services? There's really not too much to go on, especially when we're literally building this stuff in real time. Mm-hmm. And so I talked to Kenneth about this, and he was like, just tell this story. Fucking A. That's how you start a brand. You just start telling the story. I have another thing that just popped in my head. I'm going to come back to it in a second, but it's going to come back to what we were talking about earlier. So I started doing that. People started following along. I started doing paid ads. I have experience with running ads on Facebook, on Meta. And it's doing really well. We're growing revenue. We're growing velocity.
Let me ask you this question on that what you just said, as a brand, I do believe it's important to just do the thing, pay the meta thing to get your shit out there, right? Because
it's a slippery slope, and there's a lot of details about how you do all that stuff. And
that's what I'm saying. So it's like, if for a motorcycle brand, like if you allot $1,000 a month to go towards, you know, just meta or whatever,
I'm going to default back to brand strategy. You have this sandbox to play with. You're going to have a percentage of that sandbox to spray and pray. It's part of the whole castle.
I think I'm drawing a blank on the whole, like it's 3 degrees of like connecting with the product before you buy something, or 4 or 2. So it's like, if you work with a brand like me and they hear about it on the podcast, but then every time they open up their fucking Instagram because they started following this brand,
or even better, that they've seen it on the side of the highway and like, oh yeah, I've seen that before. But then somebody they trust comes out of their mouth and you're like, I'm in.
Then when that Facebook marketing ad pops up, it's like the final, like, you know what? I want to get this.
You know what I mean? It's a whole tributary of ways to get there.
At that point, to further my point, it's like, all right, well, I was a part of that decision-making process for that individual.
Yeah.
As to how all this works. So like when they go to your fucking your Facebook or Meta ad and they buy the product there, I don't get credit for that.
No.
But yet I was a part of helping that person decide to do that shit.
I want to give you an example, and this is back to like how I would.
I'm just trying to figure out how to keep this show paid for so I can keep doing this, dude.
Yeah.
Calm down.
So this is how I would run things if I'm in the marketing department.
Yeah.
It just so happens that I am, right?
Yeah.
So first of all, just tell the story. And that works out for our case in point. That may be very different for a large corporation that is also a legacy brand such as Harley Davidson. Just tell the story of what's going on. I'm sure that if Harley Davidson just showed imagery of engines being put together, people would watch all the way through this stuff. It's going to affect their algorithm. That one's for free, Harley. The next thing is what we were talking about genuinely connecting with people. Yeah. So this guy popped up on my personal Instagram feed. It's called Project R1D. Shout out to R1D, Jonathan. I think his name's Jonathan. Anyway, I saw him. He's building a 60s style. It's a Lotus Formula One car with a Chevy 350 motor in it, and a transaxle and all this other stuff. And he's building it from scratch. He's read all the books from Colin Chapman. Colin Chapman was the guy behind Lotus. He basically defined handling characteristics for race cars.
Yeah.
He's read all the books. He's building it himself. He's making little tweaks, but it's in the style of this like 1960s Formula One car. He's not an engineer. He's self-taught. And the structure of this car is it has a tubing subframe in the front and the rear, and it has tubing A-arms, but it's connected with a monocog, which is just sheet metal. And so you're creating a sheet metal structure. It's like, oh, we do sheet metal. And we're about to turn on laser tube cutting.
Yeah.
And I need to come up with, this is back to my problem to solve, right? Yeah. I need to come up with effectively a marketing campaign to launch all of this stuff, because I can blast it from the mountaintop as a brand, but I need to get other people on other mountaintops to do all of that and sing in unison. Mm-hmm. So I found this dude, and he's just, get this, telling his story of what he's doing. It's the typical, and we've all seen this on social media. Day 1 of fill in the blank. Day 10 of fill in the blank. You follow that recipe, if there's an audience, they're going to swarm on you like bees on honey. Mm-hmm. So I saw this guy, he's at like post 12, is a dedicated Instagram for this project. He's at like 3,300 followers. Fucking bingo. Let me help. So I reached out to him from the brand Instagram, like, hey, saw your thing. Really exciting. I think you're doing a great job. I have an idea of how we can help. Would you be open to a call? Get on the phone, Zoom, FaceTime. reiterate exactly what I just said. I think we can help you. I know you're still in design phase. There's some testing. I can give you a couple coupons to start. These are the things that I'm kind of looking for, but kind of balls in your court. Now we're getting into influencer strategy.
But like what you're doing right there, I wish that exists in the motorcycle world. You are
Get this. He's not ready to build yet, but by the time he's ready to build, we're going to be up to with the laser tube bending and capacity and all this other stuff. So I'm trying to time it all. And you know what he did? It's a big project he's doing. He has a day job. So he's trying to keep his content going. So he's like, I'm waiting on this and that. So I'm going to start designing the steering wheel. It's a laminated steering wheel, a bunch of different layers, and there's some aluminum flat pieces in there. You know what he did? He didn't ask for anything. He just bought straight from RMFG.
Badass. Yeah.
This is an $80 order, but still.
Yeah.
That's $80 that you guys wouldn't have sold had you not.
It's more than the $80. And you connect with the person. Yes. He then said,
he wants to try the product out.
You want to talk about brand affinity. The brand fucking reached out to him like, hey, we'd like to help. He's like, I don't even need the help yet. And I think you can build a bunch of stuff like that. And, a lot of our customers, they're not just individual hobbyists. We have a lot of, they all come through the same door. So there's no really differentiation between B2C or B2B. Mm-hmm. But we have a bunch of people that are ordering every month $1,000, $10,000, $60,000, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 worth of stuff. And we kind of treat them all the same. We're not giving them freebies. We're actually asking, how can we help you? Mm-hmm. Or, hey, we're struggling with this. We kind of dropped the ball. We want to let you know. It's like, fuck. The brand is reaching out and saying like, and I say brand, it's a company, it's a service. There's a difference between selling a product and selling a service. We're selling a service to them. Yeah. So they're a little bit more beholden to us because we're making what they need. Yeah. As opposed to like, oh, I need what jeans am I going to buy?
Yeah.
But you don't have a monopoly on that service either. Right. So you're still, I mean, it's still the same.
That's a good point.
They could go to another service if they wanted, but you being transparent with them is being beneficial because it's helping continue.
Well, they're probably also beholden to somebody else. So like when you tell them what's going on, they can relay that to their.
But I do want to get back to the basics here because we talked about these themes already. I don't want to rehash all of them. New company has the opportunity to try a bunch of stuff. CEO founder has vision. He took a risk hiring a guy who kind of knows his stuff, but doesn't have the formal rigidity, does the stuff, has the autonomy to do the stuff, actually makes it happen, and then it starts to grow. And there's inherent flexibility in this model to make it happen. And I'm not saying this is going to be, is it flying colors now? Maybe, maybe not. Is it going to be tomorrow? Maybe, maybe not. But I think it's worth risking all of this stuff. And now I want to make the example that I was going to say before. Have you heard about this acquisition of Dust Moto by Livewire?
No, I haven't heard about that.
Dust Moto is an American dirt bike brand. The founder, Colin Godby, is he was lead engineer of Ubco, another two-wheeler electric bike company founded in Australia, bought by, I want to say they're Korean. They are Korean. They laid off the entire American workforce. He got a little bit of investment money. He said, I want to create an electric dirt bike that slots right in between a Sur-Ron and the Stark. Basically, it's a 250 equivalent. Yeah. And they started designing in public, developing in public. It's one of those two. From day one, here's our plan. Shared fucking everything. Started developing, They had the traction, they had the money, they knew they were going to get so far, and they could create some velocity along the way. And then they got the excitement with that velocity, and they sold the Founders 50, which is like they pre-sold 50 bikes. And they were supposed to be delivered by now. They're not yet delivered. And that's
probably
to be expected.
Yeah.
And the Founders 50 that are going to take that leap, like, they're going to be fine, right?
Yeah.
But they continued going with that. They built so much momentum. They got acquired by, technically not Harley Davidson,
but we know
Livewire partitioned from Harley Davidson. It's a whole technical thing. It's fascinating how they do this shit with money. I wish I was a quant guy. Anyway, and Harley's notorious for this, what they call the kiss of death, right?
Yeah.
And this happened to Alta, another ahead of its time electric dirt bike, but basically they looked under the hood and they're like, this is all fantastic shit, but we also see that you're about to die next month if we don't invest. So we're going to let you die, and then we're going to buy the brand for pennies on the dollar. And this has happened tons of times. And Dust Moto made it happen. And how did they get so far? I got to say it's because of the fucking marketing strategy. Mm-hmm. They got the investment, the pre-Livewire, because of that. They got their pre-orders, which is market validation, because of that. And they built their awareness, their top of funnel, through all of that. They also got their feedback about what to design. They literally named the bike model, the Hightail. They crowdsourced it. They literally said, what should we name this thing? They got a bunch of suggestions. They picked the best one.
Yeah.
And I think if you really want to connect with people, because people have this blind spot to advertising, because we've been advertised to for 150 years now. And even when the algorithm changes, or even when a new piece of tech comes out, we figure it out really quickly. But the people that were the things that we're really interested in will still permeate through.
Yeah.
But you have to tell that permeable story.